Previously on You Can Beat Video Games. In part 1 of this guide, we woke up from a coma and met Din, the Oracle of Seasons. But she was promptly kidnapped by a tornado and imprisoned in a crystal by the evil General Onox. A violent earthquake caused the Temple of Seasons to sink under the ground, but luckily it remained fully intact, and we were able to find the Rod of Seasons, a magical wand that can alter the seasons at will. After casually causing mass extinctions, we managed to complete the first 4 dungeons, where we acquired 4 of the 8 essences of nature. But what if I told you how to complete the remaining 4 dungeons? What if I showed you how to get the incredibly powerful red ring, as well as all 63 other rings? And what if I told you the best way to defeat General Onox and the evil duo pulling his strings? Well, on today's episode of You Can Beat Video Games, we'll learn all of that and more. If you're new to the channel, we're doing deep dives on retro video games and giving you the professional strategies that can be used by the casual gamer. Please make sure to subscribe and check out youcanbeatvideogames.com for episode lists, news, and official You Can Beat Video Games merchandise. And please join our Patreon for access to an exclusive Discord community and a chance to vote on future episodes. This episode was suggested and voted on by members of our Patreon community. Let's get started. Alright, Oracle of Seasons, Part 2. We're gonna pick up right where we left off after finishing level 4 with a new message from the Maku tree. He says he saw a lake shaped like eyeglasses, and before you grab your gale seeds to tornado out of here, if you look at the map, you'll notice there's a strange sparkle on this space, and that's because if we dive here in the upper right corner, we'll be able to find one of the treasures indicated on the treasure map that we bought at the members-only store. It's the Pyramid Jewel. This is our second of 4 jewels. We already found the Square Jewel back in part 1, and if you're playing a linked game, you'll find this one in a different location, and we'll talk about that a bit later because we don't need the jewels to get into level 5. We won't actually need them until we're looking for level 6. With the Pyramid Jewel in our possession, we can warp back to Horon Village where we have a bit of business to attend to. But first, it seems that we've encountered Maple again, and until we get the heart piece that she dropped, we should definitely try to bump into her with every opportunity that we have. Even if you don't get the heart piece, you could find a ring or a potion, and unless you severely mess up here, you should end up with more than you started with. Now that Maple has flown away, we planted a Gosha seed near the mayor's house earlier, and now we can harvest the Gosha nut. Hopefully we'll get a ring. You may want to save your game before harvesting Gosha nuts. If you get a bad prize, reset the game and reload, but make sure to swing your sword a few times before harvesting the Gosha nut again so that you'll get something different. If we head over here and wake up the Maku tree, he will be a little bit more direct with his clue and tell us that we need to go to Eyeglass Lake, not just a lake shaped like eyeglasses. Also, now that we finished level 4, if we go up inside of the Maku tree, we'll find this small cave where we can refill our seeds, and we can also find a few fairies just in case your hearts are low. So hit the bushes to find some ember or scent seeds, and that's all we can get from here right now. You can return here at any time you need a refill, and you'll want to check in with the Maku tree after finishing each dungeon because you may be able to find a free Gasha seed or a new cave may open up. We've acquired a few rings since the last time we visited Vazu's jewelry store, so we'll want to have him appraise those, but we also got the ring box upgrade, and now we can carry 2 more rings for a total of 3. We can still only have 1 equipped at a time, but many of the rings are very situational, so it's nice to be able to switch between a few different ones. Ask Vazu to see your list, and I'm going to equip the Green Joy Ring, which will double the amount of ore that we find in Subrosia, and I'm also going to equip the Rocks Ring, which stops cracked floors from breaking out from under you, as those are 2 rings that we might actually use. If you don't have those 2, just look through the list and see what looks useful to you. You'll also want to make sure that you equip any rings that you want to use right now. We haven't checked in on Bipin and Blossom lately, and after finishing level 4, we may have some new choices to make. Whenever we talk to Blossom, we find out that baby Kylo never sleeps, which is terrifying. We should have known it was a demon baby. She asks if we should sing a song or play with the baby, and I guess since there's no choice for an exorcism, we'll choose sing this time. We won't be able to truly appreciate the effect of this decision until we're playing a linked game, so this is not going to pay off for a long time. Still, it's important to make the decision or the story won't advance. Speaking of advancing things, if we want to do the next step in the trade quest, we can bring the fish that we got from the vase collector down here to the man that's trying to get his cat out of the tree. As soon as Mittens smells the aroma of that succulent fish, he immediately hops down from the tree. Oh Mittens, don't be so weckless. For our troubles, we get the megaphone, which we'll need up on Mount Cuckoo. But we're not going to head up to the mountains right now, because it's time for us to obtain the 4th and final Rod of Seasons power. To get there, head down this way and swim over to this small island. We'll see a sign about rock mushrooms that can only be picked in the fall, and that's a clue for later. Head through the portal to go to a new part of Subrosia. This is the lower right corner of the Subrosian map, down below where the Temple of Seasons is. Inside this small house, we'll meet a guy that is obsessed with signs, and somehow he knows that we've broken 6 of them. How did you know that, Subrosian guy? Are you like following us or something? In any case, head down here where we'll be able to hop over some lava and we'll find an important item. So we're just going to go this way, hop across, and go down to the lower left of this area. We'll take out that fire monster and work our way up and then to the right. You'll notice a mysterious object over here in the corner, and if we use the power bracelet, we'll be able to pick up a bomb flower. It says to handle it with care, but it seems to be safe, so we need to take this thing back to the Temple of Seasons. Technically, we could have done all of this before finishing level 4, but we didn't really need to do it until now. So just keep working your way back across the lava, and we'll head out of this area quickly so we don't get hit by a fireball, and then we're going to come over here to the right. If we head up to the next screen, we'll be able to pick up a rock here that will permanently open up this route so that we'll be able to freely come back this way. That rock will not reappear. Now we'll use a Pegasus seed and our Rock's Feather to hop over the 2-pit area, and we'll be able to return quickly to the Temple of Seasons. The only tower that we haven't visited yet is located in the upper right corner of the Temple of Seasons, so we'll head that way. And this guy tells us that the ore is all in chunks. Very insightful, thank you for that bit of information. If we head up here and talk to this woman wearing blue, she'll take our bomb flower and then she uses it to destroy the rocks that are blocking our path. I love how in this universe that even the high-powered explosives only destroy the very specific things that you wanted to explode. I'm talking buildings, walls, tile floors, trees, other people. All of it is 100% bomb-proof unless it has a very specific structural flaw. In any case, up here we'll meet the Spirit of Fall, who imbues our Rod of Seasons with the power of Autumn. The power of Autumn has two major functions. The first and probably most important is it allows you to get past rock mushrooms. There are rock mushrooms throughout the world, and you can only lift them using the power bracelet when you are in the autumn season. The other thing that it does is there are some spots where there's a bunch of pits that will be covered in leaves whenever you're in autumn, and you can quickly walk across them. So those are the two big changes that we'll be able to use this for. Mostly the mushroom thing, but the leaf-covered pits will come up. Now that we have the power of Autumn, our Rod of Seasons is fully powered up, and we can now use the stumps to change the season to whatever we want. So what can we do now that we have this incredible power? Well, we'll use our Gale Seeds to warp back to the tree here in the Spool Swamp. That'll save us a little bit of time. We could have just walked, it's not that far, but Gale Seeds are a good bit faster. We'll grab some Pegasus Seeds since they're nearby, and we're going to head down into the Holodrum Plain. The default season here is spring, but we're going to hop up onto this stump and wave our Rod of Seasons twice to change it to autumn. Believe it or not, this part of the Holodrum Plain is connected to North Horon, and as long as you don't go outside any areas where you see those wooden posts, we won't change the season. So just stay within the confines of this area and head up here across this bridge, and over on this side, we'll be able to find some mushrooms to harvest. So these are those rock mushrooms that you can only pick in the fall. And once you've picked it, head over here into a cave. Inside this watery cavern, we'll find the Quicksand Ring. This ring will make Link unaffected by quicksand, and there's quite a bit of it in the Samasa Desert area, and this is also good against the level 6 boss. This is not an exclusive ring. You could potentially find this one in a Gosha nut, but sometimes it's nice knowing exactly what you're going to get. With the Quicksand Ring in our possession, we'll warp back to Horon Village, where we'll be able to find a treasure chest filled with rupees. And look at that, the season is randomly already autumn, so we don't need to change anything. If you do, there's a stump to the right of Bipin and Blossom's house, and you can use your Rod of Seasons there, but we want to lift up these mushrooms so that we can get 20 rupees from this chest. That's not bad. If you happened to be in town before when the season had randomly changed to autumn and you already had the power bracelet, you may have already been able to collect that chest, but if not, now is a good opportunity. Up here in North Horon, we'll be able to use the power of autumn again, this time to get a Gosha seed. So we're going to head over to this stump near Malon's house, and we'll use the Rod of Seasons until the season changes to autumn. We may need to swing it several times to do so. And here's the season that we were looking for, and we're going to head down near where we got the megaphone, and we're going to go across the bridge to the right. Now there are other ways to get this Gosha seed, but I think this is the best one. and it illustrates how the power of autumn can be used to cover up some pits with leaves. Normally, there would be a bunch of pits there that would make getting that chest difficult, but now that it's autumn, we can grab it easily. And that's the last item that we're going to be using the power of autumn to get for now, so let's make our way to the next dungeon. We can change the season to winter so that we can walk across some ice down here. That's probably faster than swimming. And then we're going to head up into the Eyeglass Lake area, where there's another stump that we can use to change the season back to autumn. There's some rock mushrooms that are blocking the way to level 5, but before we go in there, you'll notice a very conspicuous formation of bushes here. If you dig in the middle of them, you'll find some soft soil where we can plant a Gosha seed. Does anyone else think it's weird that the bushes were growing in a perfect ring around the soft, fertile soil that was perfect for them? I don't think that's how plants work. Well, in any case, we can pick up some of those rock mushrooms, and that leads us here to level 5, the Unicorn's Cave. But before we get into that, let's take a look at a linked game secret. If we go back to the area where we found the bomb flower after obtaining the power of autumn, we'll meet this Subrosian that has a secret we can use in Oracle of Ages. So we'll jot this one down, and then we'll open up our completed Oracle of Ages game, where we need to visit Mayor Plen. This is a pretty easy one to find. Mayor Plen lives in Lina City, just to the left of the jewelry store, and whenever he talks to him, he asks if we need him for something. Why, yes, we do. Once we tell Mayor Plen the secret password that we just learned in Oracle of Seasons, he'll give us a ring that he was given by an oddly dressed out-of-towner, which is a funny way of describing the Subrosian that gave him the ring. Now, I thought this was just supposed to be a way for that Subrosian guy to say thank you to Mayor Plen, but it actually seems like some sort of convoluted way of giving us this ring. Why did the Subrosian give it to Mayor Plen to hold for us? Couldn't he have just given us the ring himself? This is just the spin ring, and while it is an exclusive ring that you can only get here, all it does is make you spin around an extra time whenever you do your spin slash, so I don't think that's worth all the secrecy. We're not trying to keep this out of the hands of the Nazgul to keep Sauron from coming back. In any case, just like with other secrets where the reward is a ring, there's no return secret. Instead, you need to talk to the red snake to get your ring secret, and that will allow you to transfer this ring over into your Oracle of Seasons game. Once you have the spin ring transferred over, you will get credit for completing the Plen secret in the book that sits next to the Oracle of Secrets inside of the Maku tree. Now, if you really want to see the spin ring in action, once I've finished putting this password in, we'll talk to Vasu and look at the list, and we can equip the spin ring and try it out. So we have an upgraded ring box that we're not using just yet, so we need to fill in a few slots anyways. There's the spin ring that doubles our spin attack, and let's also equip Maple's ring. We may need to use that for maple farming later. Alright, here is the spin ring. Let's charge it up. Yep, that's it. That's what it does. Pretty awesome, right? Spin around in circles. But that's all the linked game secrets we have for now, so let's get back to level 5, the Unicorn's Cave. The map for this dungeon is very large, but it's all spread out over a single floor, which makes it a bit easier to navigate. Hop in the minecart on the right, and as you ride up, make sure to flip the switch so that you go up here. Inside this chest, we'll find our first key, and then we'll want to hop back into the minecart because we need to flip the switch and ride it over to the right side. So make sure to flip the switch as you go by, and this time hop back into the cart and you will go around this bend and over into this room. In here you'll see a stairway which is labeled A on the map, and you'll also see a large pit that we can't cross just yet. So go down the stairs and we'll enter this side-scrolling area. Use your feather and hop across whenever you see a gap in the fireballs, and over here you want to trigger the thwomp and then you can ride it across to the left. You'll notice that there's another way we can go here, but you want to go up this ladder because that's going to take us to the area that leads to the map. So we'll head over here to the right, and in this room we need to clear out the enemies. If you'd like a fast way to clear out those Gibdos, which are what the mummies are called, hit them with a Gale Seed and they will instantly disappear. Enemies removed with the Gale Seeds won't drop any items, and they will return if you come back to the room after leaving and re-entering. Looking at the map, we'll see the layout of the dungeon, and then we're going to go all the way across to the left. That's going to lead us towards the item of the dungeon. So stay here on this upper ledge, and we're going to drop down to the left. So there's a bunch of enemies here, watch out for those. And we're going to swim over to this door, which we will unlock using a key. The chest in this room contains the magnetic gloves. These gloves are used to manipulate items that have an N or an S on them, and they have two different polarities. Each time you use the magnetic gloves, it will automatically switch polarities, and you'll need to have it in the south mode to pull on that ball. If you're in north mode, you will repel the iron ball and push it away. So if you're in the wrong mode on the gloves, just press the button to use them and it will automatically switch to the other. With the gloves in our possession, we'll head back down the stairs and we're going to use our bombs to blow up these cracked blocks. So drop a bomb on those and then drop another one to remove this one, and we'll be able to head through this tunnel on the left. In here there are some gargoyles on the wall that shoot at you, but you can deflect their shots using your shield. Use your Rock's Feather to hop onto the moving platforms, but keep that shield going to protect yourself. Get over here on the ladder, and in this room there's a statue puzzle. You can see that we can't get over to the left side, but when we move this statue, the one on the left also moves. We need to push it in this fashion so that the left statue lands on the button, and that will open this door. In this room, we need to cross this perilous bridge as we're attacked by bats and Gibdos, and those mummies take quite a few hits with the wooden sword to kill, so you may want to use your Gale Seeds. You can push those pots to find items underneath, and in this room you'll see that the path is blocked by one of those iron balls, but we're not going down that way just yet. First we're going to open this chest, which contains 100 rupees, so you definitely don't want to miss that, and then we're going to head up through this door at the top. There are some annoying enemies in this room called Iron Masks that you normally can't attack from the front, but if you use your magnetic gloves, you'll eventually be able to remove their shield, and then they're very easy to clear. Once you finish off all the enemies in this room, we'll be able to open the door on the left side, but before we go in there, we should probably use a mystery seed on this owl statue to get a clue. Recall the order you slay the knights in. Well, that's a clue to the puzzle in this room. What you want to do here is defeat each one of these Armos knights one at a time, so start in the upper right corner, and you just want to get each statue moving and make sure that there is never two statues moving at once. If that happens, it could become a problem because you need to know which order you defeated these enemies in, because as soon as they're cleared, 4 chests will appear, and you need to open them in that order. Because we made each statue animate one at a time, we're just going to go around in a circle. This is the third chest, and then this is the fourth one. And if we did it correctly, we'll get a small key. If you messed it up, you'll have to exit the room and re-enter it. Now that we have that key, there was a path that was blocked off here by this iron ball, and we're going to use our magnetic gloves to get it out of the way. Remember, you need to be using the gloves in the blue south mode to pull the ball towards you. In this room, we need to clear out all the enemies to open the door on the left. We'll use our gloves again to get rid of the defenses on the iron mask enemies, which will make them very easy to defeat. And once the door opens, we'll head over here to the left. There's a bunch of quicksand in here, which looks like it could be a problem, but if we use a Pegasus seed in our Roc's Feather, we could jump almost directly to the chest in the center from right near the door. This chest contains the compass, which we know reveals the location of the dungeon's treasure chests, and will also remind us whenever we're near a key. If you drop into the pit, you'll be right back near the door, and then we're going to go down. And there's the compass making the key tone, which tells us that there's probably a key in that chest over on the left. If we head down here, we're going to use our magnetic gloves to practically fly across to the left side. So stand on this tile and use the gloves in the north N mode. It will pull you over to the magnetic post on the left, and then we can open the chest to find the key. That will bring our key total up to 2 in our inventory, and then we can head back the way that we came. Use the south mode to push yourself back across the pit, and that will bring us back near the entrance. Remember the room with the 2 mine carts? Well, this time we want to ride the mine cart on the left side. There's also a key in this room, but we won't be able to get it just yet. Don't flip the switch and ride the cart over into this room, which also contains a key. We can use our magnetic gloves to disarm the iron masks, and then we're going to use them to pull ourselves over to this rotating post, where we'll quickly switch polarities to push over to the left side. And then we'll just do the same thing to get back across. There's one more place that we haven't ridden this minecart to yet, so make sure to flip the switch as you pass, and then hop right back into the minecart to ride it straight up. And then we're going to walk across this ledge at the top of the screen to take us over to the right side. Watch out for the enemies, and then head down these little steps and over to the right. In this room, we're going to clear out this dark nut, and then we're going to push this block, which will make a magnetic ball appear. We're going to manipulate the magnetic ball using our gloves and push it onto the button, which will open a door for later. If you don't make that ball appear by pushing that block, you will not be able to go through there later, and it will be a problem. Now, we need to get to the right side, but the other minecart is gone. I think that we could just save and quit to make it reappear, but if you don't want to do that, there's another way that we can go. So we're going to head up onto this ledge, follow it along, and we're just going to hop down here to the left. We could lift up these pots if we want to get a few items. There could be some hearts in there for you, and we're going to go up through this passage. From here, we want to go back over to the right, and we're working our way back to the stairway that's labeled A in the room with the 2 statues that you had to move. So we're just going to work our way up here, and these are the stairs that we were looking for. Now we need to go all the way across this side-scrolling passage to the right, so we're going to skip the first ladder. We'll need to use some bombs here to get through this part, blow up those blocks. We'll put another bomb up here to get rid of these ones, and then we're going to use the thwomps to get across. So we're skipping that first ladder, and we're going to continue over here to the right, where we'll need to get past these pipes of flames, and then we'll climb up this ladder, which will take us back to this spot. Now we can use our magnetic gloves in the south mode to push ourselves across the gap, but before we go through the door on the right, we want to ride this minecart, which will take us back into this room where we keep on hearing that key tone. Now we can finally get the key. Ride the minecart back, and this time we are going to go through the door on the right side. You should have 4 total keys in your inventory, but we're going to use one of them here because it's about time for us to face a mini-boss, Siger. When Siger is in cat form, try to hit the red orb on its tail with a charged up sword slash. When it's in ball form, use your feather and try to get away from it. You can charge up your sword while it's in ball form, so whenever Siger turns back into the cat, you can quickly hit its tail with a spin slash. It won't take too many hits to win. With Siger out of the way, go through the door at the top, and I'm going to show you a shortcut you can use. Head over here to the left where we've already placed that ball on the switch so that we can go through this door. Now you'll see there's a bunch of fire here. You can actually just hop through that fire if you're willing to take a little bit of damage. It's not actually that difficult to do. But I'll show you the normal way of doing it without hopping through the fire. This is how you would normally get back through there, but I'm going to push the ball back to kind of where it was before so you can get an idea of how the game designers expected you to approach this puzzle, but that is a much faster way to get through. If you're not going to use the shortcut, you need to work your way all the way around this right side. In this room, there are some spark enemies that cling to the wall. You can remove those with your boomerang, and you'll even get a fairy for your trouble. Over here on the left, you can also find a few pots that also contain hearts, so there's a lot of ways to refill your health in this room. Press the button and then work your way over here to the door that opened, and we'll be able to go through this room where you want to avoid that laser turret and just quickly work your way to the left. The enemies in this room are affected by your magnetic gloves, so you can try to use them to pull them towards you, although sometimes they'll flip over and you'll end up pushing them away. The best way to attack these guys is to try to get them near a wall. It will be harder for them to escape without there being a lot of places for them to go. Head over here on the left and you recognize this room. What they would want you to do is to move the ball into a position for you to use later, and then you just have to go all the way back around. But that is the safer way of doing it without having to go through the fire. So we're going to head back through this room. If you need to kill a spark enemy for a fairy, you can. And then we'll come back over to this side where we will cut through this room that we opened up earlier, and you'll see that the ball is now over here, and we can use it as a shield to get past the fire. So that's the way that the developers intended for you to do it, but you can just jump through that fire, it's not a big deal. Down here we'll use our magnetic gloves and our roc's feather to navigate a side-scrolling passage. Why there are floating tank treads for us to walk on is beyond me, but just hop across them and then pull yourself upward using the gloves to get the boss key. Once you have the boss key, you'll want to use that magnetic post to pull yourself up, and then you can drop onto one of the tank treads. And then we'll climb up this ladder and we'll jump onto this one, which is pushing us to the left, so you want to keep moving to the right a bit until you get over here, and then we'll climb back up the ladder. So now that we have the boss key, what should we do with it? Well, we'll use this iron ball to protect ourselves from these fires, and we're going to go back down and to the right. And you may recall that in this room over here, there's one of those key blocks that we haven't gone through yet. So that's where we're going to go now. Go through the key block using our last small key, and in here we're going to use our magnetic gloves and our roc's feather to navigate the magnetic posts and the moving platforms. And that will bring us over to this room where we can push up using the south mode of the gloves, and that will bring us over here. In this room, we'll find the boss door, and we just need to navigate a few more of those magnetic posts. So carefully pull yourself onto this spot, and then pull all the way over to the right. And then up here, we can pull back over to the left, and we'll stop right in front of the boss door. Pick up a few of these pots to grab some last-minute power-ups, because it's time to face Dig Dogger. The only way to damage Dig Dogger is to use this large spiky ball that you can manipulate with the magnetic gloves. You just want to move it back and forth in a short pattern, and whenever Dig Dogger breaks into smaller pieces, you need to hit those with the spiky ball as well, and you need to do it fast or they will reform into the larger eye, which you'll need to clear again. Once Dig Dogger is defeated, we'll be able to go into this room, where we'll find our next essence of nature, the Nurturing Warmth. Balmy days build strong saplings with their nurturing warmth. Back outside the dungeon, we get yet another telepathic message from the Maku tree. Because that's a totally normal thing in this game. Or at least I hope it is. Because the trees tell me what to do sure sounds like the kind of thing a serial killer would say. In any case, we planted a Gasha seed before we went into the dungeon, so we're going to head over here where we can harvest the Gasha nut, and at the same time, Maple has appeared. She's on a similar sort of counter, so we're going to bump into her, and we want to make sure that we have our sword and a Pegasus seed on so that we're moving fast and we can use the sword to grab objects. But there's no heart piece, no ring, nothing good this time, so we just want to grab as much money and items as we can, and then Maple will take off. Once Maple decides to leave us alone, we can head over here and harvest the Gasha nut. There's a ring inside, which is what we were hoping for. And now that that's taken care of, we'll use a Gale Seed. And we need to take care of some business on Mount Cuckoo. So to get there, we'll warp to the Sunken City. Warping to the Sunken City affords us an opportunity to get some more Gale Seeds, which is nice. And there's also another Gasha nut up here for us to harvest. So we'll check that one out. It was also a ring, very good. And now we're going to head over towards the Vase Collector's house. That's where the passage to Mount Cuckoo is. So we'll just head over here to the left. And now this guy's outside. What does he have to say? He says that some monsters have settled in the village and they're making bombs. Well, that sounds awfully suspicious. But we don't have time to worry about that right now. We're just going to dive under the water, where we will work our way to the left. This is the way that we'll get to Mount Cuckoo. There's not any trees on Mount Cuckoo for us to use Gale Seeds to warp to. So we're just going to cut through this passage and we will emerge very close to where we need to go. There's two things we need to do here, and they both have to do with mushrooms. The first is right here. We're going to hop onto this stump and we're going to change the season to autumn. And we haven't used autumn in this area yet, and you'll see now we can pick up some of these mushrooms, and that will lead us to a new Gasha spot. And this is a slightly upgraded spot that yields rings or items of classes 2 to 4. The piece of a heart container that we can get from a Gasha nut is technically a class 4 item, so that is a very good place for us to plant. Now we're going to change the season to spring because there's one of those booster flowers that we want to use. And we're going to head over here to the left across the bridge. And over here there's that flower which will take us up onto the ledge. And over here we're going to enter this cave where we'll be able to continue the trading quest. This is Malin's father, Talon. And he seems to have been sleeping up here for a very long time. Days, weeks, months. He slept clear through winter. Well, the only way to wake him is to use the megaphone, and he will take it from us and trade it for a mushroom. It smells weird. With Talon out of the way, we can also access this chest, which contains the Subrosian ring. This is an exclusive ring that can only be found right here. This ring will make you look like a Subrosian, and it works just like any other transformation ring, so it doesn't have a lot of practical applications, which is kind of a missed opportunity. What if there was a place in the game that you could only access while wearing that ring? That would be pretty cool. Anyways, back here in the Sunken City, we need to change the season to winter so that we'll be able to climb a snowdrift up to Syrup's shop. Syrup has been unable to sell us any items because she doesn't have mushrooms, and this is one of the most useful trades in the game. Not only will we get the next thing for our item trading quest, but it will also unlock Syrup's shop so that we can purchase potions or gacha seeds from her. Outside of the shop, this woman tells us about a scary monster up in the mountains, and she almost certainly is talking about Big Goron, who is so large, I'd be surprised if you couldn't see him from the Sunken City. Inside the shop, Syrup will smell the mushroom on us and ask if we'll trade for a wooden bird. The bird looks real, so that seems like a pretty good deal. She says that she'll open the shop soon, and she is not kidding. If you walk outside and then pop back in, she'll already be selling potions and gacha seeds. Nice. We're not going to blow all of our money right now, but if you really wanted to spend a lot of cash fast, that is one place where you could do it. Down here in the lower right corner, we'll see the washed up Great Moblin. We've seen these guys in a linked game before, and you could blow up their cache of bombs to destroy their little house, but there's no real need to do it here in a non-linked game. Why did this happen to me? Well, I mean, you kept demanding a toll from us whenever we passed by. Sooner or later, someone was going to end the tyranny. From here, let's head back to Horon Village. There's a couple of places we need to go, and they're both located close to the village, so this is a good place to warp to. Before we get back onto our adventure, we can stop over at the Maku tree, and we'll be able to get a gacha seed. We can also ask him for advice on what to do next. This guy wants to know what happens if we get all of the essences, and well, we're going to find out. And whenever we wake the Maku tree this time, he just says that the essence is in ruins, so that is not a much better clue than what we had before. We'll use the Pegasus seed to quickly get through the tree, and up here you'll notice there's a new small ledge that's appeared, and there's a gacha seed for us to grab on top of it. We'll pick it up and make our way out, but if you need some health or some more seeds, you could visit the cave up above. We've collected a number of rings recently, so let's head back to the jewelry store to get them appraised. Vasu will charge us 20 rupees for each one, but we have plenty of cash, and first we have the quicksand ring. We knew we were getting that one, but this one is the peace ring, which prevents damage to us from our own bombs, so that's not bad. We already had the rocks ring, and of course this is the Subrosian ring, which is an exclusive, so it will be added to our list. We're not going to add any of those to our ring box, so once we're done here in Vasu's ring store, we're going to go over here to the clock shop. The shop owner here has been looking for a breathtaking wooden bird, and I think we might have what he's been looking for. Yes, he is very impressed with the wooden bird that we got from Maple, and he traded us engine grease. Now, I feel like we could have gotten something better. Is engine grease like rare here in Hyrule? And what kind of engines are we even going to grease? Well, in any case, let's head over here to the western coast. The third of the 4 hidden jewels is located here on the western coast. To get there, we want to head down near the beach. There's a lantern that we'll need to light using our slingshot. So walk down near the water and use an ember seed to light up that lantern. Once it's lit, the bridge will be extended, and over here, we're going to use a mystery seed on this question mark. Doing so will make the question mark disappear, revealing the Black Beast. But don't get scared, it's just a basic enemy. Use your sword to defeat the Black Beast. You can try to trap it in a corner, and inside the chest, it's the X-shaped jewel. That's 3 jewels down and 1 to go. Once you have it, use a Gale Seed to warp back to the village. So this time, whenever we go back to the village, we're going to take the exit over on the right that leads us over to the eastern suburbs. So go over here, and we're going to go inside this cave that leads up to where the phonograph operator is. So we'll go over to the left, and here we'll take these stairs down at the bottom, and this is the guy that wants our engine grease. He wants to make that windmill move more quickly. I mean, sure, it's worth a try, and he's willing to trade a phonograph for it, which seems like a pretty good deal. Wow, the engine grease really did make it move faster. What were you greasing it with before? Maple syrup? I have no idea why that guy needed the windmill to move that quickly, but it doesn't matter because the phonograph is the final item in the item trading quest. What will we use the phonograph for? Well, we'll find out pretty soon. You don't actually need the phonograph to get the ultimate reward, but it will allow us to get a very valuable clue. Before we go, if we change the season to spring and then go right here, we can pick up these rocks and then boost up to the upper ledge using the flower, which will allow us access to the stairs. Of course, we could have done this earlier in the game, but we needed the magnetic gloves to get the reward down here. So use your gloves and push yourself across, where we'll find a Gasha seed. Not bad. With another Gasha seed in our pocket, we can drop down, and we're going to warp over to the Woods of Winter, although we could probably just walk there. It's not that far away, but we have plenty of Gale Seeds. I think we're going to be fine. So we're going to warp over here on the right, Woods of Winter, that's the one we're looking for. And if we head up from here, we'll be able to use our Rod of Seasons at the top on that ledge so that we can change the season to autumn. Then we'll be able to pick up those mushrooms. So use the rod one time and drop down. Now we can use our power bracelet to remove these mushrooms, and we'll be able to go inside this cave. In here we'll be able to find the Moblin Ring, which can transform you into a Moblin. It's less exciting than it sounds. This is not an exclusive ring. This is actually a class 1 ring that is fairly common, but it is still nice to know that we can get it for sure in that cave. Now you may be thinking, what about the 4th and final jewel? Well, that's why we're going to warp back here to North Horon, and we're going to make our way near where level 1 is. We're actually going to go right by it. So we'll head down here, we'll pick up a rock, and then we're going to go to the left, and we'll see the Gnarled Root Dungeon, but we're not going to go inside. Instead, we're going to go down from here, where we'll be able to get into the water. In the water, we'll swim over here to the left, which will take us into the Holodrum Plain, and then we'll go down here, where we'll find a mysterious cave in a tree. You'll notice that we could have gotten the other 3 jewels much earlier in the game, but this guy will only give us the round jewel after we have finished level 5. So he's the bottleneck in the whole process. Now that we have all 4 jewels, we can make a very blinged out PlayStation controller, and we can also get into the Tarm Ruins. But before we do that, there's a Subrosian side quest that we can do to get a better shield. So we'll warp back to Horon Village, and we'll use this passage to return to Subrosia. This part is totally optional, and to be completely honest with you, I'm not sure that the level 2 shield is that much better than the regular old level 1 shield, so you may want to skip this one. But if you like getting everything, we can head up and over to the left here, where we'll find a Subrosian that just knows there's a treasure chest nearby, and he's not wrong. Over here in this area, we'll come across a maze of pits that we'll need to use our magnetic gloves to navigate. So pull yourself over to this post, and in this chest we'll find the blue ore. Now before we go on, we can use the gloves to head down here, where we'll notice this strange spot on the ground. If we dig, we'll find a ring. I guess no one ever thought to dig in that spot with the bright orange square around it before. Who knew? The ring that we'll find there is a random class 2 ring, so it can be one of several different rings. From here, we're going to work our way all the way across to the right side of the map. So keep heading this way, and down here we're going to hop across, and we'll use our magnetic gloves to get across this lava. It's possible to get across it without the magnetic gloves, but that's just an easy way to do it. And we're going to continue going to the right, past that portal, and up here through this familiar area below the temple, where we'll pull ourselves across using the magnetic gloves again. And although we didn't need them before, we do need them to get over here, where we'll be able to climb up on top of this house and open another chest, this one containing the red ore. The red and blue ore can be melted down and combined to make hard ore, and to do that, we'll need to go to the Subrosian furnaces. So just make your way past the sign guy, and we'll go up here, and we want to go to the left near this portal, and inside this room is where we needed to go. The furnace can melt down any ore into liquid goo, but I'm not exactly sure that's a desirable thing for us. We want our ore to be hard, not liquid. And whenever we talk to the Subrosian wearing blue, she'll take our red and blue ore and ask if we've come to mix them. Say yep, and she'll throw them into the furnace. Then they do this synchronized dance number. I'm not sure if this is important for the ore making process, but maybe it is. Maybe if they don't perfectly nail this dance, the ore will come out completely soft, like a lump of clay. So dance your hearts out, little Subrosians. We need the hardest ore that you can possibly make. And that ore is very hot, but we pick it up with our bare hands anyways. It's interesting that our blue and red ore combine to make a green ore instead of a purple one, but I guess there's just a little bit of magic in the ore making process. Once you have the hard ore, you need to take it to the Subrosian smithy to get the shield upgrade, and you don't have to have a level 1 shield to obtain the upgrade. If you don't have a shield at all because it was eaten by a like or you never bothered to get one, you will get a free iron shield here. Otherwise, you will lose the level 1 shield that you currently have and will get an iron shield in return. The Subrosian smithy is just to the left of this active volcano, so this is the landmark that I'm always looking for. And inside, you need to remember that when you're dealing with these guys, you need to use a sort of reverse logic. You don't want to treat them like normal NPCs, because that will not work out in your favor. This guy notices that they can make a shield out of the hard ore, but if you tell him to make it fine, he's like, "Make it fine? Are you trying to get punched in the face?" This guy is extremely offended by that. Instead, you'll need to exit and re-enter if you told him to make it fine. Just tell him to do whatever. Do whatever, say no more. Telling this guy to do whatever makes him so happy that he stops what he's doing right there and makes us a new shield on the spot. He says to treat it like an heirloom, and we now have the Iron Shield. Nice! If you were playing a linked game and you already had the level 2 shield, you'll be upgraded to the Mirrored Shield, which is a very useful upgrade. In any case, we don't use a shield that often here, but whenever we do, it is good to have a better one. After leaving Subrosia with our new shield, we can use a Gale Seed to warp over to the Spool Swamp, which is the closest location to the Tarm Ruins. From the Pegasus Seed Tree, we're going to head over here to the right, and the entrance to the ruins is right up through this log. So we're just going to go up through here, and we'll need to place each of the jewels in their slot. Just walk up to each spot, and when all 4 jewels have been placed, the gate will open. Seeing all 4 jewels arranged like that, I really hope this isn't leading us into the Squid Games. Up here we'll find a stump, and this is a season puzzle. We'll need to start by changing the season to summer. Summer will make vines grow on the wall here behind us, and whenever we climb up here, we'll be able to drop back down on the left side, and then we can push this statue, which will unlock a stairway in the upper left. So that is extremely important, but that's just the first part of the puzzle. Next, we need to go back onto the stump and change the season to winter. Whenever we're in winter, we'll find a snowdrift over here on the left, and we'll be able to climb up on it and access those stairs that we just made appear. The third part of the puzzle is simple. Just push these 2 lower Armos statues and change the season. The statues will be submerged under the water, but we really need the season to be autumn, so switch over to that one, and then we're going to go over here to the right, where we'll find a very valuable clue. You'll notice that there's some mushrooms here, so that's why we needed the season to be autumn. We'll pick them up with the power bracelet and head down the stairs. There's a Deku Scrub down here, and well, it looks like it's a great time to try out our new shield. You want to face the wall down here at the bottom and get the Deku Scrub to start shooting at you, then turn around and deflect the seeds right back at it. Whenever it's dizzy, it will give you this clue. If you're lost, travel west, south, east, north, each time in a warmer season. It won't be long before we encounter a Lost Woods type area, and we will be very happy to know the secret to escaping it. Now we're going to head back this way. We'll swim over the statues and go up. And here we needed the season to be autumn. It already is, but there's a stump there if you need it. And here we can use a bomb to open up this cave. Inside we'll find a fairy fountain. If you've taken some damage, now is a good time to get your health refilled. And once you're all filled up, we're going to head back outside where we will start going downwards. Watch out for the likes, we don't want our new shield to get eaten. And down here, there's a very conspicuous tree. We can use our Ember Seeds on it, and underneath is a stairway with another Deku Scrub. This little guy is so excited to see our phonograph, and whenever we play it, he starts jumping up and down. He tells us the way to his secret spot. If temperatures rise as you go far to the west, you'll find it. So you did not need the phonograph to be able to do this. If you already knew the trick, you'd be able to find the sword upgrade without it. But he wants us to go to this area with the stump and start by changing the season to winter. So that's the coldest season, and now we'll go to the left, which is west, and hop up onto the stump again. The second coldest season is autumn, so change the season to autumn and then go to the left. Now we're going to change the season to spring. So switch it over to spring and then go to the left again. And this is the last one. We're going to change the season to summer and go to the left where we'll find the sword upgrade. You definitely don't want to miss this sword upgrade, so make sure to collect it. And now you'll see that our sword can fire beams in addition to being generally more powerful. Now head back to the stump and change the season to winter and go to the left. Now we're going to change the season to autumn again, but this time we're going to go south. You'll see that the stump has reappeared. Change the season to spring, and this time we're going to go to the right. And finally, we'll change the season to summer and go up. We'll hear a tone indicating that we solved the puzzle, and be careful not to touch those Armo statues as you head up here deeper into the ruins. We'll walk by a tree that we can now warp to using our Gale Seeds, and we are not done with seasonal puzzles, so hop up onto this stump and change the season to autumn, which will allow us to pick up these mushrooms, and then you can burn that small tree. Underneath it, we'll find a Gosha seed. That, of course, is optional, but what we actually need to do is go back to the season stump, and this time we're going to use our Rod of Seasons to change the season to winter. You may want to take care of this guy first. With our shield we can block the mace, and that will give us some openings to hit him with our noble sword. If you have full health, you'll be able to shoot beams from your sword, which will make it even easier. So now we're changing the season to winter, and then we're going to head down and to the right. Be very careful there around those likes, and use your shovel to move this snow out of the way. That's not the only thing we can use the shovel for, because there is a very good Gosha spot here that yields items from classes 3 to 5, making it one of the best Gosha spots in the game. Don't forget to plant something there. Up here we'll find the snowdrift, so that's why we needed it to be winter. And then we'll head over here to the left where we can push this statue out of the way, and then we'll drop down here where we need to change the season to spring. And then we can boost up using this flower. The statue is out of the way, and if we head over to the left, we'll find level 6, but over here, well, if you use an ember seed on this tree, you'll find one of those money men. But this is one that will take your money away, so do not talk to that guy. So avoid that guy, you probably don't even want to go down there. Instead, just cut this flower, which is only there in the spring, and that will take you here, where we'll see a cutscene introducing the Twinrova. We already know that the Twinrova are the big bads that we'll face at the end of a linked game. We've seen them in some of the linked game cutscenes, but this is their introduction here in a normal Seasons game. And once they're done talking, make your way inside the Ancient Ruins. Now, of course, before we go on to the Ancient Ruins, we have some linked game stuff to talk about. Not all of the jewels are located in the same place in a linked game. So you'll notice if you dive down here where the pyramid jewel was in a normal game, instead you'll find 30 rupees. To find the pyramid jewel here in a linked game, you need to go to this area at the bottom of the sunken city and open this chest. Inside, it's Vire. Yeah, Onox's loyal henchman. And he is so mean that he puts the pyramid jewel on the upper ledge where it will be so difficult for us to get. Oh wow, what a terrible thing to do to us. Of course we know that we can just use a Gale Seed to warp back to the sunken city, and then we can easily go back down to that spot where we can collect the jewel. So that's what we're going to do. We'll head down here past the Great Moblin's house, and we'll just dive down under the water where we'll be able to easily get the pyramid jewel. And there it is. So what about the other 3 jewels? Well, the square jewel is located here in North Horon. You'll want to hop up onto this season stump near Malin's house and use your Rod of Seasons to change it to summer. So it'll take a few swings of the wand, and then we're going to hop down here, go across those pits, and head over to the left. You'll notice that a lot of the water has dried up, and now we can use a bomb on this cracked wall. If you go here in a normal game, you'll just find some rupees, but in a linked game, you'll get the square jewel. The X-shaped jewel is located in the exact same place, and so is the round jewel. Once you have all four, you'll have access to the ruins, where you'll be able to get the sword upgrade, and if you already had the level 2 sword, you'll be able to grab the legendary Master Sword. And with that, let's head back to our non-linked game and take on the Ancient Ruins. The Ancient Ruins is our most challenging dungeon yet, with 5 floors, a rotating dial, and just so many traps. We're going to start by heading straight up into this dial, which will send us to the right. This room has a locked door, but we don't have any keys yet, so just clear out any enemies that get in your way, and head over to the right. In this room, there are some Gibdos, as well as some cracked floors. We have the Rocks Ring, which will prevent cracked floors from breaking out from under us, and if you brought that with you, now's a good time to use it. The chest over here on the right only contains 5 rupees, and is essentially a trap. That will be a recurring theme here in this dungeon. In this room, if we equip our feather and hop over to the right, you'll see some clay pots. Now that we have the level 2 sword, we can just smash them and get their contents without picking them up. Inside there were some bombs. Could that be a clue? Well, down here you'll notice that there's a segment of the wall that sounds a bit different when you touch it with your sword. There's no cracks in the wall here, but if we use a bomb, we can find a bonus room containing 175 rupees. Awesome! You don't want to miss that. Once you've grabbed up the cash, we're going to cut across to the left, and we want to work our way back to the rotating dial. In this room, if the Gibdos get in your way, we can remove them with Gale Seeds fired from our slingshot. And here is where we wanted to go, back up through this way, which will take us into the rotating dial that now sends us over to the left. Avoid the enemies here and head up into this room where we can quickly Gale Seed away that annoying hardshell beetle. Now we need to solve a puzzle using one of those magnetic balls. If we go up to the top left corner, we can use our magnetic gloves from there to grab the ball. We don't have to go all the way down to the bottom. You can see that there's a button over here on the right side that we need to depress, so that's what we're trying to do. And we'll just hop diagonally up here, grab onto the ball, pull it up, and we're just going to work it all the way to the top here. Now we want to send it across, hop over, and push it to the right. Now we can get down around the ball and pull it down, and we're going to push it up and over. So make sure you're using the N mode to push it across, and then we're going to quickly switch to south and pull it to the right. When the ball is seated on top of the button, a key will drop, and we can grab it and head back the way that we came. Scurry past the Gibdos down to this room, where we want to get onto the ledge over on the left. So work your way down and up onto the ledge, and then we're just going to follow the path up here, where we'll find a chest containing the map. Whenever we look at the map, we can see just how big these ruins are. The floors do get smaller as you go up. We are currently on the largest floor right now. With the map in our possession, we're going to head back down here where you need to clear out all of the enemies if you haven't yet, and then you can push that block to open the door. Now we're going to use our magnetic gloves to grab this iron ball and pull it down to the lower ledge. This is going to open the door over on the left, and while we don't need to go back that way right now, it'll be nice to have the path already opened. Unlock the key block and head back up into the rotating dial, which will send us over to the right once again. We've been through the rotating dial several times now, but we've never gone through it in such a way that it sends us up. So that's what we need to do now. For that to work, we need to go all the way back across the dungeon so that we can enter the dial from the left side. So just go all the way across. We're not going to go into the dial here. Instead, we're going to go over to the left using the door that we opened with the metal ball. Now we're going to go up here, and over on the right is the dial that we were looking for, and it should be in the orange mode that sends us in a clockwise direction, and that will take us up here. Use your glove to manipulate the iron ball and place it on the button. That will make the stairs appear that take you up to floor 2. There are a bunch of traps in here, so equip your Roc's Feather and stay on your toes. You want to move quickly as you go across, cut through the crystals with your sword, and jump over any obstacles that come towards you. Down here, we'll be able to open a chest that contains a key. If you need to take care of those enemies, you need to flip them over with your shield or shovel first, but you should be able to just avoid them. Now we're going to go back through this room, and we're going to drop down in the pit in the lower left corner. That'll be the faster way to go. This, of course, sends us down to the first floor, and if you need to get some health back, you can use a boomerang on this spark enemy to generate a fairy. The rotating dial here will send us to the left, but we actually need to go to the right. It's not that big of a problem though. We just need to loop back through one more time, and the dial will send us where we need to go. Make sure to clear all of the enemies in this room or you won't be able to push the block. And once you can push the block, the door will open. We've already opened the path here, so we just need to go up into the rotating dial, and now it will be in the orange mode, which is sending us to the left again, so we need to loop through it one more time. It should be easy to loop through this time. We've already cleared the enemies, so just go back through once more, and finally the dial will send us in the proper direction. Over here in this room, we know that we need a key. We've been by this door several times, and we have the key now, so we're going to use it to unlock the way. This next part is optional, but if you want to get the compass, it's located in the upper left corner of this room. We just have to get around this obnoxious laser turret to get it. Wait here where you're safe, and whenever you see an opening, jump onto this platform and quickly hop up to the chest. Once you have the compass, we can see where all of the different treasures are located in the dungeon. And once we're done perusing the map, if you just drop into the blackness here, we can quickly get back to the door. We actually need to go to the right here, so that's where we're going to go now. In this room, there's a speed challenge. There's a button up at the top of the room, and whenever we press it, it will trigger an earthquake, which will cause the tiles in the room to disappear. We'll want to use our Roc's Feather and our Pegasus seeds here. That will make us fast enough to get to the bridge that also appears when you press the button. So just quickly run around and head up here where we'll find the next stairway. Back up on the second floor, if we investigate a little bit here, we'll notice that there's a cracked wall down here in the lower right. If we use some bombs, we can open the way, and this chest contains a refill for our bombs, which is also a clue that we need to use them here. If Admiral Akbar were here, he would be flipping out, because not only is this chest a trap that activates the Armo statues, but this entire room is a trap. You don't want to come down here. You'll have to clear out all of these enemies before you can get out. So I recommend avoiding that treasure chest and avoiding this room entirely. Instead, what we want to do is go up and around to the left. That's going to take us to this room where we've been to the upper part of it before, but now down here on the lower side, we'll want to get rid of these enemies, so flip them over using your shield or your shovel, and then strike them with the sword. Once they're out of the way, we need to push this trampoline onto the purple tile, and then hop onto it using our Roc's Feather. That will bounce us up to the 3rd floor. When you get up to the 3rd floor, you want to hold up so that you actually land on solid ground, and then we're going to come down here. If you insist on tangling with this Mace Knight, I recommend using your shield, but technically you can just avoid him and head over here to the right. In this room, there are a bunch of Armos statues, and whenever you grab the magical boomerang, they're all going to become animated. Good news though, the magical boomerang can actually kill these things, so equip it and just start boomeranging the Armos statues. That will take them out of your way. But this upgraded boomerang is not just more powerful for attacking enemies. You can also control its flight path with the directional pad whenever you throw it, so you can do some really fancy trick throws with this thing. The magical boomerang replaces the standard boomerang that we had before, but if you skipped getting it, don't worry. You don't have to have had the regular boomerang to obtain the magical one. Back down here on floor 1, we want to go back to where we found the map. There's a way that we can go to the left here, and although we could have gone this way before, without the magical boomerang, we would have reached a dead end. Watch out for the trap down here. We're going to equip the Roc's Feather so that we can jump over it. Take out the crystals as it bounces back and forth, and we're trying to get to a button which is down in the lower left. Of course, there's a trap right next to it. You want to trigger that trap and then touch the button. And we're just going to keep jumping over these things until we come up here, where we will need to use that magical boomerang to hit this crystal switch. So throw the boomerang and curve its flight path using the directional pad to hit the crystal switch, and that will open up a stairway that brings us back to the 2nd floor. Going down from this room is the way that we needed to go, but if you really want to see the entire dungeon, we can take a short detour over here. This part is totally optional and mostly pointless. You need to press the button to open up the door at the bottom, and in this room you'll hear the tone that says there's a key, but we won't be able to get the key right now. We'll have to get it later. So we're back in this room where we need to use our magical boomerang to hit a moving crystal switch this time, although it's not that much more difficult. Hop to avoid the spears that are thrown in your direction and come down into this room. This one appears to be a dead end, but if we drop into that pit in the upper left corner, we'll be able to access a different part of the 1st floor that we weren't able to reach before. So just head straight down here, and then we're going to go over to the right. There's a whole bunch of clay pots down at the bottom if you need to get some ember seeds. We are going to be needing those in just a moment. Up here, we're going to equip the slingshot with our ember seeds, and as we ride on these platforms, we need to light all 5 of those lanterns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you did it correctly, a stairway will appear, bringing us up here to the 2nd floor once again. Have you ever seen the movie Aladdin, where the monkey grabs the big red ruby in the Cave of Wonder, triggering a trap? Well, this room is kind of like that. The large rupee that appears is a fake. It triggers a trap and causes the wall to move downwards. Make sure to eat a Pegasus seed and have your Roc's Feather equipped, and you should be able to get around just fast enough. The chest in this room contains the all-important boss key. Make sure to grab that, and then head back over to the right, where you'll find a stairway. Take the stairs up to the 3rd floor. We haven't been this high up in the ruins yet. Clear out the enemies here using your sword or perhaps the slingshot with ember seeds equipped. Once they're all gone, push the block in the upper left corner to open the door. And in this room, we'll find a locked door, but we don't have a key for it just yet. Maybe we need to clear out these enemies. Well, unfortunately, that is not the solution. Instead, what we need to do is drop into this pit in the upper right corner. That will bring us up onto this ledge in the 2nd floor. Work your way around, and inside the chest we'll find a key. Once we have the key, we need to get back to where we were on the 3rd floor, and we can easily do that by just hopping onto this trampoline. Use your feather to jump on. Back up here on the 3rd floor, the locked door leads us to a mini-boss. It's time to challenge Vyre. Now, Vyre is a mini-boss that appears in both Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, and you'll fight him similarly in each. In this game, you want to stay near the perimeter of the screen, although there are spikes there so you can't get too close, and charge up your sword. Vyre will fly in from the side, and when he gets close, hit him with a fully charged sword slash. So just try to get close. You can try to hop a little bit with your Rock's Feather if you need to, and whenever he splits into 2 smaller bats, you need to jump to attack those. And with that, Vyre is out of the way. He'll fly back to report to Onox, but for now, we'll be able to go on with our journey. Use a Pegasus Seed to quickly run past those traps and stay in the middle of the room. And in here, we're going to equip our Rock's Feather, which we can use to jump over the moving rollers. We'll press the button up here in the upper right corner to open the door, and in this room there are 2 buttons to press, and this is a game of chance. It doesn't really matter which button you press. Each time you touch one of them, you will have a 50-50 chance of summoning enemies or making the stairway appear. And the second time we got lucky, but you may need to clear out the enemies and keep hitting the button over and over again until you finally get lucky enough to make the stairs that lead here to the 4th floor. We don't want to go through all of that to get back here again, so clear out the wall masters before you move on. And in this room, you could use your magnetic glove to bring down this iron ball, and then you can kill these enemies with it. Or you could just use Gale Seeds with your slingshot. Either way will work. In this room, there are 3 moving crystal switches that we'll need to hit. We can use a variety of items to hit those switches, but the boomerang probably makes the most sense. I recommend clearing out all of the enemies first so that they won't be in your way, and then try to hit the switch at the back first, then work your way forward. When all 3 switches are red, you'll unlock this trampoline room, and it looks like we need to push the trampoline down onto these reddish tiles. And whenever we hop onto it down here, this is not exactly where we need it to be. We need the trampoline to be a bit more over to the right. So push it over here in front of those stairs, and then push it straight down. We'll bounce up on top of it, and up here we'll be able to use our boomerang or even a beam from the sword to hit a crystal switch, and that will make the stairs appear down here. So now we can climb these stairs, which will bring us up to this side of the room, and when we push the block, there's the boss door. The boss that we're about to fight is probably the most difficult one in the game, so make sure to grab some fairies out of the clay pots if you need them. Equip your Rock's Feather and Boomerang, because it's time to face Manhandla. The 4 red pods on Manhandla can only be damaged with the magical boomerang when the mouth is open. You want to try to hit each pod 2 times, and then hit each pod for a 3rd time, which will clear it. Whenever you clear a pod, the boss gets faster, so it's best to try to evenly damage all of the pods so that you can remove them all in quick succession. Once all the pods are gone, hit the boss with your boomerang until the core is revealed, and then strike it with your sword. And that's it! We've defeated Manhandla. Grab your heart container and head up the stairs. In this solitary chamber, we'll be able to find the Blowing Wind, our next essence of nature. Sweet fruit is born when pollen is carried by the blowing wind. Outside of the dungeon, the voices. The voices in our head call to us once again, and this time they tell us to go to the cemetery west of Horon Village. Ah yes, The cemetery. Red rum. Everything is becoming so clear now. In any case, we should hop down this way where we'll run into Maple if we defeated enough enemies in the previous dungeon. We want to bump into Maple. Hopefully we'll get that heart container piece this time. Well, no heart container, but a potion and a ring? That's pretty good. We'll want to use our Pegasus seeds to make sure that we can outrun Maple and just grab as much stuff as we can. Once Maple flies away, we'll head over here to the right where we can also harvest a Gasha seed from our premium Gasha spot, and it's the piece of heart! Excellent! Well, we won't have to worry about farming those later, but if you're trying to find the piece of heart specifically, make sure to continue to plant a Gasha seed in this location until you ultimately get it. Once you've harvested that Gasha nut, we can head back to Horon Village, and we've picked up several rings since the last time we've been to the jewelry store, so we should get those appraised. We'll just ask Vasu to do the business, and this one's the Moblin ring. We knew that we were getting that, and we already had it, so it was just worth 30 rupees. Maple's ring could be very good if we need to do some maple farming later in the game, and the heart ring level 2 is excellent. If we just wait around, it will slowly refill our health while equipped, so let's add that one to our ring box. We haven't been using this Zora ring very much. Once we're finished ring shopping, we can head over to the Maku tree, where there's some new developments up in its branches. Before we go up there, let's see if we can get a better clue about the cemetery, and whenever we talk to the Maku tree in person, he says, "But how can you cross the sea?" Interesting. Inside, we'll use the Pegasus seeds to go a little bit faster, and outside you'll notice that there are some vines at the top which lead up to a new cave, and there's also some sort of strange glowing orb at the top of the tree. In here we'll be able to collect some different types of seed ammo, and also fairies just like the other little cave. Pegasus seeds and Gale seeds are two of the most important seed types, so this is a great place to stock up on those. You'll need to go in this cave if you want to refill your Ember seeds or your Scent seeds. Scent seeds I can't say are extremely important, but we will use them occasionally. And we'll use our Pegasus seeds to just run quickly through here. And while we're in town, let's visit the shop. We've purchased almost all of the items in the members only section of the store, but there's still a Gasha seed for 300 rupees that we didn't buy yet, and we need to buy everything in the members only section if we want to be able to play the special mini game that will replace it later. So there's that Gasha seed, 300 rupees, perfect. And whenever we leave and come back, we'll see that that Gasha seed has been replaced with another Gasha seed for 500 rupees. Wow, we were only outside of the store for a few seconds and they really jacked up the price. We'll need to buy that seed as well to unlock the minigame. And now we can check in on Bipin and Blossom. We made our decision previously for Blossom to sing to the baby, and now we're going to see what it's become of him. If we head over here to the left, oh no. Did the baby become a juggalo? Ugh, I'm sorry, Bipin, but this is kind of on you as well. You can't trust strangers that just barged into your house to raise your kids. In any case, there are 4 possible adult forms that the child can take, and this will only happen in a linked game. The younger bouncy kid form is as far as you'll get in the normal game. If you get the warrior, this is not a great form. Make sure to tell him to train daily, and later on in the game, you'll be able to collect a 100 rupee reward. That's the best that you're going to get for a warrior. Now, maybe you made some different decisions and you got a shy child instead. You'll need to make several decisions here. Make sure to talk to Blossom and the child, although the child's a little bit tricky to chase down in this form. If things are not progressing in your linked game with Bipin and Blossom, try harvesting a Gacha nut, and if that doesn't help, finish the next dungeon and harvest another Gacha nut. Those are the things that will often trigger a change here. Of the 4 adult forms, I would say that the singer is the least useful. He'll eventually ask you to choose love or courage. It doesn't matter which one you pick, it just influences the sound of the final song, and the singer will restore your health like a fairy. The third and final child type is this hyperactive kid that you see here. Now, if you lent Blossom 50 or 150 rupees earlier in the game, you could potentially have the kid grow up to become an arborist, just like his dear old dad. They'll even work together, which is very cute. Later in the game, the arborist will give you a free Gacha seed, which is a pretty good prize considering that Gacha seeds could cost 300 rupees or more. The arborist will eventually give you Gacha tips, just like Bipin. Now, the fourth and final adult form that you could potentially get is the slacker, and it's also the most common one. You can see there are a ton of recipes that will yield a slacker, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. The slacker has spiky hair and also has music notes coming out of it similar to the singer, but does not have a guitar, so I guess that the slacker is doing some sort of a cappella song. Eventually the slacker will hit you up for money. If you give him 50 rupees, he'll give you 150 back later in the game, and if you give him 10 rupees, he'll give you a Gacha seed, both of which are pretty good value. And that's all the possibilities for Bipin and Blossom, so let's get back to our adventure. If we use the Subrosian portal in Horon Village, it will take us right here to the pirate house, and if we talk to this guy, he will reveal the secret for getting into Samasa Desert. Make sure to memorize the pattern that you see him using on those drawers, because we will need to recreate it later. Down here on the lower floor, there are a bunch of pirates, and this one tells us that their ship is nearby. This pirate tells us that the captain has a special someone who is the queen of some great land. Could it be Queen Ambi? Nah. Could it? If we piece together the story that these pirates are telling, it seems that the captain lost his bell, and with it, he sort of lost his mojo. Now their ship is stuck in the desert and they can't get it out. Whenever we talk to the captain, he asks us to help find the bell. He'll only ask this after we've completed level 6. Well, now that we know our mission, let's see if we can find that pirate ship. They said that it was nearby, and we know what's up from the pirate's house, so we'll head over here to the right, and there it is. That's the ship we were looking for. If we go down the stairs, a ghost appears. This guy is not only a skeleton, he's like a skeleton ghost, and he says that the rest of the ship is in the desert, and I guess he doesn't mean the desert down here in Subrosia. We have to go to the Samasa Desert, which is back in the normal world. The Samasa Desert is near the eastern suburbs, which is just to the right of Horon Village, so we'll warp back there and walk that way. We haven't been able to get into the Samasa Desert yet because there's a pirate that's been blocking it, but maybe now that we have the blessing of the pirate captain, we'll be able to get in. As soon as we exit the village, we'll see the entrance to the desert. It's this log down at the bottom. In this area, it's always summer, so we won't be doing any season shifting here, and whenever we talk to this pirate, he'll move out of the way. Now we just need to repeat the same sequence that we saw the pirate in the Subrosian house do earlier. And 1, 2, 3 over here should finish it, and that will open the gate. The sequence to get into the desert is always the same, so even if you didn't watch that pirate earlier, you'll still be able to recreate what you saw here in the video. If you drop into this quicksand trap and then dive under the water, we'll be able to emerge on a ledge in the lower right corner of the desert, and that's where we'll find a special ring, the Rang Ring. This is the Rang Ring level 1, and it is an exclusive ring that can only be found here. The Rang Ring level 2 does exist, and it is a class 5 ring that you can find in Gacha seeds that are planted in only the most premium Gacha spots. Equipping one of these rings will increase the damage dealt by your boomerang. And up here we can plant a Gacha seed. Be very careful not to touch the cacti, walk carefully around them. And over here we'll see the bow of the ship, and we need to talk to this pirate ghost here in the ship, or his skull won't appear in the upper right corner of the desert, and we'll need that skull to find the bell. So make sure to talk to this guy in the ship, and then go back out up the stairs. After talking to the pirate on the ship, we're going to head to the upper right corner of the Samasa desert map, where we will find an oasis. So don't fall into those quicksand traps, and there's that skull. The skull has been waiting for us and wants us to carry it around. That's something we can do using our power bracelet, but before we pick up the skull, let's use our bombs to open up this small cave that contains a bunch of fairies. If you need to get your health back, you can always pop into there. Now we'll use our bracelet to pick up the skull. The pirate's bell is hidden in a random location somewhere out in the desert at the bottom of one of these quicksand traps. So you need to carry the skull all around the desert, and you want to walk it onto each one of the quicksand traps. When you find the right one, it will start moving its mouth, and then you just want to drop into the center of it. Down at the bottom, we'll find the rusty bell, and it seems that being rusty could be a problem. I think it's been down here a long time. What did they expect? Now, the rusty bell is not the only thing that you can find at the bottom of one of these quicksand traps. Anytime you go into one of the other quicksand traps, you will randomly encounter one of several different things. There could be a bunch of enemies. There could be here's the bunch of enemies. Watch out for likes. And you just want to exit through the door here, and you'll always come out over here whenever you go into one of these traps. Maybe you'll find a Deku Scrub that will sell us a shield for 100 rupees. Are you insane? To be completely honest with you, if a shield normally cost 100 rupees, I might just go without it. Once you have the bell, the fastest way to get back to Subrosia is actually to go to the ship, and inside the ship we'll now be able to push this brown box, and that will take us right back to Subrosia without using a portal. Interesting. We'll just cut through this small graveyard, and are these the graves of the pirates themselves, and what we see manifested here are just their ghosts? I'm not sure, but that certainly seems like a possibility. As we feared, the captain is not happy with the condition of the bell and insists that we get it polished. Getting the bell polished is actually quite easy. We just need to visit our friends over at the Subrosian smithy. To get there, we'll hop across the lava, and we're just going to head to the right. And we'll follow along to the right where we will jump down but not go down the stairs. Just over here where we can use our magnetic glove to pull over to that post. And then we're going to go up past the market through this door that we had unlocked earlier. So we'll just hop over that to go a little bit faster. And then we'll head over here on the left where we'll see the active volcano, and that's our landmark that indicates that the smithy is right nearby. Now, we've dealt with these guys before, and we know that we need to use reverse logic whenever we're talking to them. So whenever this guy notices our rusty bell and says that it could be of great value, he offers to polish it, and we need to tell him to do it. Don't say please. Saying please will greatly offend this guy, so just tell him to do it, and he will polish that bell so well that you may not even recognize it anymore. It might be better than it was in the first place. With the polished bell in our possession, we just need to head back to the pirate captain. So we're going to cut through this passage, and whenever we go by the market, we haven't been there in a while, so let's stop inside and see what they have to offer. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of ore chunks, but we can buy ore chunks and trade him for gale seeds, and we can find gale seeds at the Maku tree pretty easily, so if you need some quick ore chunks so that you can buy a random ring or maybe a Gasha seed, that's something that you can certainly do there. Just don't forget to replenish your supply of gale seeds at some point. Gale seeds are not only useful for teleporting around the map, they can be flung from the slingshot to clear out very annoying enemies. We'll hop back across the lava and go back to visit the pirate captain with our nicely polished bell, and he will be very happy this time. There's no mistaking it. The bell is full of memories, but they're not all good. Oh no. Well, it seems that all's well that ends well. The pirate captain is ready to set sail. At this point, we see a cutscene where one of the crew members comes out and says that the ship is all fixed. So, was the ship broken? Or was the captain just sad about losing the bell? Now I'm not very sure. In any case, we all pile into the ship, and just as you would expect, the ship goes down into the sand. Yep, makes total sense. Ships go into the sand. That's how ships work, didn't you know? Somehow the ship going down under the sand makes it re-emerge in the Subrosia desert. I don't know, maybe it goes through the center of the earth somehow. I'm not exactly sure how it makes sense, but that's exactly what happens. It's touch and go as we pass through the planet core, but the pirates keep everything together, and after a loud explosion, we emerge in the Subrosia desert. We made it, Captain. The sea. The Jolly Roger is hoisted, and all of the pirates seem very excited. With the ship out on the water, we voyage off into the open ocean. But it won't be too long before we come back to the land. We don't really need the ship over on the right side of the map. We need it on the left side of the map near the cemetery. It seems that some of the pirate ghosts are not feeling so well on their first trip back out to sea. But I guess that makes sense. Link seems to be holding up perfectly though. After being nearly killed in a storm at the beginning of Link's Awakening, you'd think that Link would be fairly reluctant to going back out onto the open ocean, but this is the only way to get the ship where we need it to go. Ashamed of the condition of his crew, after just a few moments at sea, the captain mercifully turns the ship around and returns us to the shore. You may remember this bridge over on the western coast that we were unable to cross before because there's a very large gap in the middle of it. Once the pirate ship slides into place, we'll now be able to easily make our way to the lower left corner of the map. And that's the next place that we need to go. But hold on, don't go running off to level 7 just yet. Before we get there, there's a few side quests that we can take care of, and one of them is very important and is highly recommended. So if we head over to the right, we'll be able to access a chest that we weren't able to get before, and inside we'll find the Blast Ring. This exclusive ring can only be found here, and it will increase your bomb damage. If we use an Ember Seed on this small tree to the left of the little house, we'll find another one of those money men. Why does he say, shh, don't tell? Is there something we should know about these rupees? Are they counterfeit rupees that you're trying to get into circulation? Something not right there. Inside the small house, we can use a bomb to open up the wall on the right side, and that will grant us access to a season stump. Now we can change the seasons here on the western coast. We need to change the season to summer to get to level 7, but we have something more important to do first, so change the season to spring. Now that the season has been changed to spring, we're going to head across the pirate ship and back over to a more familiar area on the right. So head over this way, and that's going to take you back to the shore, and now we'll be able to see this area in the spring. If we go all the way over to the right, we will encounter the Golden Dark Nut. He only appears on this space on the map, and he only appears in the spring. I recommend using your slingshot with a Pegasus seed to stun him. Even with the level 2 sword, this guy takes quite a few hits to kill, so make sure to keep him stunned because he's quite dangerous. And that is the first of the 4 golden enemies that we need to kill. The next one is over near the Woods of Winter, so let's warp that way. This one is right near level 2, but we need to change the season to autumn. So stand on this stump, which is right near the mystery seed tree that we can warp to, change the season to autumn, and head over here to the left, where we will encounter the Gold Moblin. The Gold Moblin is much easier to defeat than the Gold Dark Nut, and we can just use the magical boomerang to stun this guy and batter him with the sword. That's 2 golden monsters down, 2 golden monsters to go. The next one's in the Tarm Ruins, but it's near the entrance to the Tarm Ruins, so we're going to warp to the Spool Swamp and go through the entrance where we placed the 4 jewels. So we'll head up here on the right side, and you'll see that the gate is still open, and when we get inside, we want to change the season to winter. We're going to be looking for the Golden Lionel, and he only appears in winter. So switch the season, we'll climb up on this snowdrift over here on the left, and whenever we get up to the top, we're going to go across the ice, and that's where we'll find the Golden Lionel. You can use your boomerang to stun this guy as well. Keep him stunned, stun, hit, hit, stun, hit, hit, and after a while the Golden Lionel will eventually go down, and that will leave just 1 more golden monster to fight. The last one is in the Spool Swamp, over near the portal to Subrosia, so in that general area. We've encountered a golden monster in 3 of the 4 seasons, so of course the final one will be in a different season, summer. So head over here to the season stump and change the season to summer, and then we're going to travel to the lower left corner of this area. That's where we're going to find the Golden Octorok. So watch out for the enemies as you work your way through here. We don't have to worry about the water anymore because we have the flippers. So we'll just slash through some enemies, and we'll head over this way. We're going to need to do a little bit of swimming. So just swim, swim, swim down, and we're going to follow the land here over to the left. Watch out for these guys that pop out of the pits. And this is what we were looking for, the Golden Octorok. You can try to stun this guy with your boomerang, or just try to trap him in one of the corners and rapidly slash away with your sword. Like all of the golden monsters, it takes a good number of hits to defeat this guy, but he's really not that much more difficult than a standard enemy. Once you've defeated all 4 of the golden monsters, we're going to warp to North Horon, and we need to find the guy who will give us our reward. So we're going to head down here to the lower part where level 1 is. We'll need to use our power bracelet to pick up this rock. And we're going to head over here where we'll use the season stump to change the season to summer. Changing the season to summer will make some of the water dry up, and it's in this dried up water that we'll find the stairway that we're looking for. So head down here just below level 1 and go into these stairs. We'll find an old man wearing gold, and he says, "You have slain all 4 of the gold beasts." So we get a ring, and this is a very special ring, the Red Ring. The Red Ring is a very exclusive ring that can only be found here, and it's one of the best rings in both games. This ring will double our sword damage with no downside, so this is definitely something we're going to want to wear when we're fighting the next few bosses, and even at the very end of the game. The Red Ring is also extremely powerful when imported into a linked Oracle of Ages game, and will honestly make a lot of the combat in that game kind of trivial. And there it is, the Red Ring. I don't care what other rings you have, make sure that you select this one from your list and include it as one of the rings in your ring box. Also, don't forget to equip it because we are going to be thrashing some bad guys with this thing. So now that we are all powered up, it's time to make our way to the cemetery where we'll find level 7. To get back to the western coast, we're just going to exit the town over on the left side. So we'll head up here, and we'll make our way over onto the western coast, which is as usual in its default winter mode. We're going to want to cross over the pirate ship and get back to the season stump so that we can change the season to summer. But before we do any of that, we can stop by this fairy fountain if we've taken any damage. So we'll restore our health, and then we'll head down this way and over to the left. And there's our pirate ship, so we're going to cross over and up, and we need to go back through the little house to get to the season stump. So we're just going to use our feather to hop across the gap here. Hoppity hop. And another quick hop will put us out on the other side. And we'll use our Rod of Seasons to bring the heat. The power of summer will make some vines grow, and we'll be able to climb those up to get to the cemetery. So head down through here. And then we're going to go to an area that we haven't been to yet. So we'll equip our sword for safety. And over here you'll see a cave, but we can't get across right now. We'll need to come back there later. For now, we'll head over to this area where there's a Gosha seed spot. We'll drop off one of our seeds there and we can harvest it later. And up at the top of the vines, we'll finally get into the graveyard. Now, just like in classic Legend of Zelda, you can stun the main ghost here and then make a bunch of other ghosts appear. And once you kill the main ghost, they'll all die at the same time and you can collect the items. And up here is level 7, the Explorer's Crypt. But before we do that, let's take a look at a linked game secret. This ghost wants us to hear his regret, and while we should probably run away, I said yes, and it seems that this ghost has a terrible secret, and now we need to hear that secret too. Great. It sounds like the ghost may have witnessed some sort of crime but never reported it. Luckily, in Oracle of Ages, we have the ability to travel back in time, and we can go to the Eyeglass Library, where maybe we can get some justice for our ghostly friend. This is one of the trickier secrets to figure out because, yeah, the ghost did say that he worked in a library in Labrina, but would you really think that the guy we needed to talk to was the one in the middle of this invisible floor thing? Well, that is exactly the guy that we need to talk to, so work your way around, follow the instructions on the book, and when you finally get to the center, you'll be able to tell him the secret that the ghost told us back in Seasons. When we finally make it to the center, everything starts out innocently enough, but I think that ghost really may have witnessed some sort of crime, because whenever we whisper that secret to the old man, he freaks out and acts as if we just dropped a stack of blackmail photos on him. Then he insists that we participate in the cover-up, and as a bribe, he gives us the shield upgrade. He also gives us a secret to use the shield upgrade in Holodrum too, which we should totally write down. The mirrored shield is an excellent piece of equipment. It can even block lasers. But is getting that shield upgrade really worth the psychological toll that holding in that secret may have on our mind? I mean, the ghost that told it to us went to the grave regretting not telling anyone about this secret, and I'm worried that the same thing may happen to us. In any case, make sure to return to the Maku tree where you'll be able to redeem the secret to get the mirrored shield back in your Oracle of Seasons linked game. And with that, we have completed all of the linked game secrets. But that's not the last linked game thing that we're going to do, because you can also meet Queen Ambi here on the beach near the Samasa Desert. It turns out that the pirate captain is Ambi's lost love, and she's been traveling across time and space to try to reunite with him. Whenever you bring the polished bell back to the captain, before he sets sail, we'll see this special scene here in a linked game. Yep, Queen Ambi finally found the captain. Could you imagine being the pirate captain in this situation? He hasn't seen his ex in over 400 years, and when he finally meets up with her, she doesn't look a day older than when he left. And here he is, a dusty old skeleton. Yeah, that would be tough. Ambi roasts the captain for being a little bit thin, but she seems overjoyed to be finally back together with him again. Although she acknowledges that a seafaring man cannot live his life on land, she will always be his port of call and will be waiting for him to return. And with that, the ship sets off for sea, and everything after that is the same. So let's head back to our non-linked game and take on the Explorer's Crypt. We'll need to break a few curses to get through this dungeon, so the first thing we want to do is work our way around here to the left. It's good to use the boomerang here. It can destroy those anti-fairies, and it can also stun these Stalfos enemies, which will make things a little bit easier. Over here we see one of our friendly owl statues, so we'll use a mystery seed to see what kind of clue we can get. It seems that the source of the curse is hidden in the darkness, which suggests it may have been in that room. In here, we need to quickly get to the right before all 4 of those flames burn out, and you have a little bit of leeway after the 4th one goes out, but if you wait too long, you'll be sent back to the entrance of the dungeon. In this room, we need to get rid of all the whiz robes, If you have a decent number of Gale Seeds, you can equip them to your slingshot, which will very quickly remove the Wizrobes. And when they're all gone, we'll be able to get a small key. Now we want to go back towards the entrance of the dungeon, so if we just wait here for a moment, we can see the effects of the curse. As the last lantern burns out and the room is enveloped in darkness, we are warped back to the entrance, but the joke's on you, Ghost, because that's where we wanted to go anyways. There's a locked door over here on the right that we'd like to go through. In this room, if we clear out all of the enemies, we'll find a chest that contains the Power Ring level 1. This will make our sword deal more damage, but will also take more damage when hit by enemies, so there's a downside. It's definitely not as good as the red ring. The Power Ring level 1 can also be found in a dungeon in Oracle of Ages, and if you use your slingshot to light these 2 lanterns from this upper ledge, a ghost will appear. Charge up your sword and hit the ghost with a fully charged spin attack, and you should be able to break the curse. Once the ghost is defeated, we'll be able to enter this room with no problem, but before we try to get to the stairs, we can use a bomb on this cracked wall, and over here we'll find the compass. We usually find the map first, but in this dungeon it's the compass, and you can kinda see what the dungeon looks like now that we have it, but we'll need the map for more information. In this room we'll use our power bracelet to move these rollers out of the way, so just push this one over to the left and go through the stairs to basement floor 1. Don't touch those Armos Knights and head over here to the left. In this room, you'll hear that familiar tone that means a key is nearby. The key is not where you might think. After pushing the button, we can use this trampoline to jump to the floor above. Up here, we'll notice that there's a button down below, so we'll want to readjust our trampoline so that we can reach that button when we jump up. So we'll bounce from here and hold to the left, and that will make the key spawn, and we'll just need to drop back down into this room to collect it. Now go back to the room with all of the Armos statues. One of these statues can be pushed, but the other ones will animate when you touch them. So equip your boomerang and touch each Armos one at a time until you find one that doesn't become animated. So we're just walking around, we're touching statues, and there it is, that's the one we were looking for. And once you find it, you want to push it over and onto the button, which will open up the door. Now in this room, we can freeze some more enemies with our boomerang. The boomerang is very good here, and you'll notice there's a locked door, but instead of going in there, we want to go down these stairs and very quickly get onto this moving platform. Before you get to the end, equip your gloves and make sure they are in the blue south mode so you can push yourself across the way. In this room, there are some tiles that will try to attack you. You want to very quickly go across that bridge and head left. Here's a tricky puzzle. We need to press the 4 buttons here in the correct order so that all of the Armos statues will be on the green tiles. Start with the bottom one in the upper part and the left one in the lower part, then the other one at the top and the last one at the bottom. And if you did it correctly, all the statues will be in the right place and a key will drop. You'll see that there's more over to the right, but we can't go that way just yet. Instead, head back down to this room and use your magnetic gloves to attach to this post and let the platform pick you up. Watch out for bats, you don't want them to knock you off, and then head back down the stairs. Here on basement floor 1, we'll use one of our keys in the door at the bottom, and that will bring us to this room that contains a trampoline. You'll notice that you can push some of these blocks, and whenever you jump onto the trampoline, well, you can't get anywhere from here. We'll need to push it over to the left somehow, and to do that, move the blocks over here on the right side, and then come over onto the left. Push these 2 blocks and then push this one upwards, and now you'll be able to push the trampoline over and up 1 space, and that's where you need to jump. Over here on the left side, we'll find a treasure chest that contains the map. Watch out for that red bubble. It will not permanently disable your sword, just temporarily, but it is annoying. And now we can see the dungeon's entire layout. There's 3 floors here, and it's sort of in a skull shape. So keep that in mind as you're working through. Back down on basement floor 1, you'll notice if you head over here to the left that there's another curse, and there's no way we're getting through that watery room before those lanterns burn out, so don't linger in that room very long. Instead, you want to head over here to the right where there's a speed test. We'll use our Pegasus seeds so that we can move faster, and then we'll quickly use the slingshot to light the 4 lanterns. If you do it fast enough, the ghost will appear. This ghost says she's stronger than her sister, but with the red ring equipped, a fully charged sword slash will easily knock her out. And then the curse has been broken once again. We'll cut back across the room with the trampoline, and now we'll easily be able to pass through this room. Make sure to dive under the rollers, dive under, and then we'll go through this stairway, which will take us down to basement floor 2. There's a crystal switch in the room above this one, and we need to hit it so that we can turn on the rotating posts in this room. With our magical boomerang, it's not that difficult to do it from here, so I would say that's the easy way. But there is another way you can do it using the magnetic gloves. Just pull those dark nuts into the pit, and when they're all gone, the bridge will appear and you'll be able to walk across. Over on the left side, we'll find some pots that we can harvest for items, but that's just one more way that you can get to the switch. Either way that you do it, keep those magnetic gloves equipped because you're going to need them here. So work your way up to this spot and then try to get to this post. Then we're going to push up to this spot and walk down to the edge so that we can reach that rotating post, which will allow us to push over to where these 2 trampolines are. Jump on the blue trampoline first, and in this room you just want to clear out the 2 Stalfos enemies, so defeat them and then drop back down. Now we're going to use the red trampoline. That will take us back up to the first floor, and in this room, carefully hop across. You may want to clear out the anti-fairies with your boomerang, but it's not that difficult to hop across the spikes here, and then drop down at the top. Because we cleared out those enemies, this door will be open, and here is where we'll find the item of the dungeon. Quickly jump onto the platform as it's moving to the left, and then jump off again onto the platform with the chest. Inside, we'll find the Rocks Cape. To use the Rocks Cape, you're going to jump and then you're going to hold the button down to glide. This item upgrades our Rocks Feather so it replaces it in the inventory, and it allows us to jump very far. Whenever you use a Pegasus seed, we can cover a tremendous amount of ground using the Rocks Cape. We'll head back up to this floor and we'll go under the rollers and back over to the right. Now that we have the Rocks Cape, there are some areas that we can access that we were unable to before. So we'll go back down these stairs, which will return us to basement floor 2. And remember, you need to get onto this platform quickly and use your magnetic gloves in the south mode to get past this pole. So push over to the left, and you remember this room where the tiles attack you? Well, now we can go over to the right and we'll be able to use the cape, so just jump and hold the jump button down, and you'll be able to change direction in midair. That will bring you over to this room. These enemies are kind of obnoxious, but they can be manipulated with the magnetic gloves. Try to keep them away from the water, and once you defeat all of them, a trampoline will appear. Push the trampoline right up near the water, and then hop on using your cape. Up here you'll be able to reach a moving platform and then walk over to the left. Use your magnetic gloves to manipulate this iron ball and push it down below. You'll be able to push it onto a button, which will make a chest with a small key appear. Drop down here and collect it, and then go back over to the left. Back here in this room, we need to do this Armos puzzle again, and yeah, it looks like we found it on the first try, so we'll try not to touch any of these other statues, and then we can push this guy down and onto the button, which will open up the door leading us down here. Break the pots if you need some items, and work your way down to the room with the rollers and the water that was cursed before we cleared out the second ghost. So here's the room we were looking for, and we're going to take the stairs again now that we have a key. There is a key block at the bottom of these stairs that we can unlock. Unlock the block, but then wait over here on the left side for those tiles to stop flying. Eventually they'll stop attacking you, and you can safely use your Rock's Cape to hop across. So a couple big hops, do a short one here, quickly get across the cracked floor, short hop here, big hop here, and we're going to do a big hop onto the platform, and then jump down at the bottom. We need to work our way through a series of rooms here so that we can open up the door in the lower right corner. So that's the door right there that we want to open up, and to do that we're going to go up here, and we need to clear out those enemies below. There's a few ways that you can do that. You can drop bombs on them from up above. That's one of the safer ways to do it, but maybe one of the more difficult ways to do it. You can also drop down below and stay in this safe spot down in the lower left corner. Use your slingshot to attack the enemies from the safety of the uncracked floor. If you have the Rocks Ring, you could use that so you can safely walk onto the cracked floor, but I recommend just staying down there in the corner and firing with your slingshot. Scent seeds are good. In this room, we need to eat a Pegasus seed and then use the extra boost so that we can jump farther with the Rock's Cape. That will bring us over to the button, and that button will open up the door. And once we go through, it's time to face a mini-boss. This is Amy and Margaret. Just like when we were fighting the ghosts individually, we're going to charge up our sword and attack them with a fully charged spin attack. The wrinkle here is that the ghosts will try to blow out the lanterns, and if all 4 lanterns go out, you could get teleported back to the dungeon entrance. You don't want that to happen, so just keep the lanterns lit by using your slingshot with ember seeds, and keep attacking the ghosts until they're both defeated. Once they're gone, we can head over here to the right where we'll find a maze of stairways. These stairways keep bouncing you between 2 floors, and it's not actually that difficult to navigate. Once you know that you're heading towards the upper right corner, just keep making moves that make sense for heading in that direction, and you'll get through with no problem. In this room, we'll need to use our magnetic gloves again to grab onto some rotating posts. Grab this one and push over here, then quickly grab downwards. And we just want to get up to this spot where we'll quickly run across the cracked floor and use our Rock's Cape to jump onto this platform, which is moving back and forth in the lower left corner. Then we'll hop up this way, and that will bring us to another room that contains a key. We need to defeat all of the enemies here. Use whatever weapons and items you like. The slingshot with ember seeds works pretty well against the green enemies, and your sword or gale seeds is very good against the whiz robes. Don't try to chase the enemies all around this thing. You don't want to be doing too much jumping. Just clear them out as quickly as you can, grab the key, and go back down here. In this room, there's an easy way to get out, so jump down to the moving platform and then jump across right here. We can push this block up above, and that will loop us back through. Now we can use the key we just got to go through this door. There's a puzzle that we need to solve here. On the right, you see a bunch of statues next to some buttons, and the statues indicate the order in which we need to press the buttons, except that we need to press the one at the bottom first. So use a Pegasus seed with your Rock's Cape and do a big jump to get down to the bottom. Wait for the Pegasus seed to wear off, and then hop on the top and middle switches. If you did it in the proper order, you'll be able to continue over here on the right, and then we can press this button to make a trampoline appear. Hop on that trampoline to go all the way back up to the first floor, where we'll land on this platform. There's an owl statue up here, so we'll hit it with a mystery seed, and maybe it can shed some light on what we need to do. The statue says, "Below me red, my right red, only I shall shine blue." That's a clue about what to do in this room. We need to turn most of these crystal switches red, so both of the ones on the right need to be red. Then we just need to hop across using our cape, hop up near the door, and turn the upper left switch blue and the lower left switch red. When all of that has been accomplished, the door to this room will open up, and inside we'll need to clear out some Stalfos enemies. You can use your boomerang to stun them, and the lanterns in this room are relentless with shooting fireballs at you. But once all the enemies are cleared, we'll be able to grab the boss key. Then we'll just drop back down to this level and work our way back towards the stairway maze. To get to the boss door, we need to get to the lower right corner of the stairway maze. So just work your way from floor to floor. We'll go through this stairway, and there is a treasure chest that we can find here in the stairway maze, but, well, you'll have to decide if you think that it's worth it. It's down here, and inside, that's right, an entire rupee. One whole rupee, giving us 666. Ugh. Well, maybe we didn't want that rupee, but we collected it anyways. And we're going to head through now to the boss. There's the boss door. Let's get ready for action. This is Gleeok. Gleeok has 2 heads, and you want to deal an equal amount of damage to both heads. If you clear one head and not the other, it will fly around for a moment, and then it will reattach to the body. So you want to clear both heads at roughly the same time. When you're fighting the remaining part of Gleeok's body, whenever it jumps in the air, make sure that you also jump so that you won't be disabled. Then attack the body with your sword, and it won't be long before you'll be able to enter this room, where we'll get the Seed of Life, our 7th essence of nature. Life begins anew when birds carry this, the Seed of Life, to new lands. Outside of the dungeon, we get yet another message from the Maku tree, but it's not especially helpful this time. He doesn't know where the next essence of nature is, so he leaves it up to us to figure it out. Before we go running off hunting for that final essence, we should try to get the piece of heart here in the graveyard, and to do that we need to go back to the season stump and change the season to autumn. Down here we can grab a gacha nut, and we got a ring. Perfect, that's exactly what we wanted. And we're going to head over here. Once you see the pirate ship, you want to start heading upwards, and that will bring us to this little house. We'll need our Rock's Cape to hop over the pits. So hoppity hop, and then hop again, and that will bring us down here to the season stump, which we will leap on top of, and we'll use the Rod of Seasons to change the season to autumn. As soon as we get through spring and summer, this is the season we were looking for. Now you may be wondering, without the vines that are there in the summer, how are we going to get to the upper part of the graveyard? Well, the way we'll do it is to go into this small cave. Now that we have the Rock's Cape, we can jump across, and we can push these green stones aside, and we will emerge in the graveyard. Now all we have to do is go back near the entrance to level 7, where we can pick the mushrooms, and then we'll head over here to the right to get the piece of heart. There's only 2 left in the entire game. Once we have that piece of heart, we can use our Gale Seeds to warp back to the village, and we don't have very many Gale Seeds left, so we'll need to pick up a few more at the Maku tree. Before we go back to the tree, near the jewelry store we've run into Maple again, and of the 2 remaining heart container pieces that we don't have, Maple has one of them. Make sure you have your sword equipped, and you'll want to use a Pegasus seed just in case she drops the heart piece, which she did not drop this time, but wow, she dropped a lot of money. She says, haha, I have more stuff than before, but do you really, Maple? Because I think you just got robbed. While we're here, we'll get our rings appraised, and the power ring level 1 is definitely not as good as the red ring, and we already had the rocks ring, so we won't be getting a lot of use out of either of those. Once we've finished up here, we'll go back outside and head right and then up to return to the Maku tree. Whenever we get there, we'll notice that the tree is not sleeping right now, and maybe that's why we're not getting a clue. He does his best work and gets visions while sleeping. Anyways, if we climb to the upper branches, we'll have the opportunity to replenish our seed ammo, and we'll also be able to grab a free Gacha seed. So that's definitely worth our time. And in here, we need more Gale Seeds, so we can grab them from the bush on the left. And if we need more, we can exit the little cave, and then just go right back in to get more and more seeds. So that ought to be enough. And once you have all of the seed ammo that you can carry, head back down to the bottom of the tree. Once we've finished up here, we can use our Gale Seeds to warp to North Horon. That's where we're going to go next. And whenever we look at the map, you'll notice that there's a large area in the upper left that we haven't explored yet. So maybe we need to go there. Back here in North Horon, there is one map square that we haven't revealed over this way. So we're just going to pop up here for a second, and then we'll go back the way that we need to. We'll grab a few scent seeds, although I think we were doing pretty good on those. And we're going to head left here, where there is one other square on the map that we haven't been to yet. So we will quickly check that out. We just want to swim over here to the left and down. And on this small island, if we cut a bush over on the left, not there, right there, that's the one, we'll find another place where we can plant a Gacha seed. So that's a place where we can harvest a ring of level 1 through 3, not a great Gacha spot, but we still need rings of those classes, so we'll have to stop back and collect the nut later. And then we're going to head up here and through this log, which will take us to the Temple Remains. There's another Gacha spot that we can find right here near the entrance. Just dig in this spot and you'll be able to plant yet another seed. This area is called the Temple Remains because this is where the Temple of Seasons once stood before it sunk into Subrosia. Before we go exploring the ruins, we're going to head across to the right, where we'll find a back entrance to Goron Mountain, and we're going to come out right near where we planted a Gacha seed in a premium Gacha spot. We found a ring, so hopefully that's one of the higher level rings, and if we go inside here, this will take us up into the Goron Mountain. Now that we have the Rocks Cape, we'll be able to find the Armor Ring level 2 up these stairs. This lava-filled room is near where Big Goron is located, and we want to jump and glide over here to the upper right corner, where we can use a bomb to clear out some rocks, and then we'll be able to find the ring. The armor ring level 2 provides some defense against enemy attacks, but it also reduces the damage that we deal to enemies. So I wouldn't say it's the most useful ring, but it is an exclusive ring that can only be found in that location. So if you're trying to complete your collection, you'll need to pick that one up. Over here on Mount Cuckoo, we can harvest another Gasha nut. And if you're trying to get some of the better rings, I think this general area is a good place to keep planting. So you can plant one over here. You can plant one at the premium spot near the lower entrance to the mountain. But we already have the heart container piece, so I'm not as concerned with Gasha farming right now. Let's get back to the temple remains, which appropriately is another seasonal puzzle. We want to head over here and then we can go up, and if we want to look around the area, the season stump is here on this screen, and there's nowhere to go over on the right at the moment, so we want to hop up here and use the Rod of Seasons to change the season to autumn. There are a bunch of pits over on the far left side of the map here that are completely covered over with leaves whenever you change the season to autumn, so that'll make getting across this part a lot easier. So we'll head over here, we'll cut through the bushes, and here are those leaf-covered pits. You want to very quickly hop across them. That brings us up here and will give us access to a different season stump. We don't need to go over to the right just yet, we want to head down, and here's that stump. Let's use the Rod of Seasons to change the season to winter this time, and you'll notice that now there are some snow drifts that we can walk on. Hop across here and use the snowdrift to get down to this Subrosian portal. If we pick up this rock over here on the left and toss it, it won't come back, so now that path will be permanently open. And in here, this blue-clad Subrosian is tossing some good stuff into this lava, and so we're just going to casually drop a bomb in here, triggering a volcanic eruption beneath the surface of the Earth. This is of course a totally normal and responsible thing to do that won't have negative repercussions for anyone anywhere, and oh no. Yeah, if we didn't cause any extinctions before when we were messing with the seasons, we definitely caused some extinctions after setting off this super volcano. But I guess that's what we needed to do. You did it. Cool. Yeah, cool. I don't know if that's exactly the word for it, but hey, now we'll be able to at least get to the next dungeon. If we hop up here, we'll notice there's a spot where you can use bombs to open the wall, and in this lava-filled cave, use the Rock's Cape to jump to another piece of heart. Now the only piece of heart left is the one we need to get from Maple. If you drop into the lava, you'll be able to quickly get back to the door, and then we're just going to drop down here, and we're going to work our way back to the original season stump. This time we're going to need to change the season to summer. So hop up onto the stump, equip your Rod of Seasons, and wave it around until we get the desired effect. Alright, there's summer. Now if we go over here to the lower right corner, we'll find some vines that we can climb up. So climb up the vines, and then we're just going to carefully hop across the lava, hop and glide, and then we'll go over here to the left where we can enter this cave. If we investigate a bit here, we'll notice that there's a couple of magnetic posts, so we're going to use our magnetic gloves to get across this long gap. Then we'll walk over to the right where we'll use the gloves again, and that will get us to these stairs. There's a rock pushing puzzle in this room, So push these green rocks out of the way, and then we're going to go down to the bottom here where we can push this rock up and then this one to the right. And that will take us up to the top of the temple ruins. We'll head over here to the left where we'll find an obvious stairway, and in here we just need to cross a very simple cave. So knock those enemies into the pit, jump across here, and in this room we need to stay on the top side, but if you are down at the bottom, you'll be able to get back up across using your rock's cape. So stay up here at the top and take these stairs which lead to the other side. And when we get over to here, we can use our boomerang on this Lionel. That will stun him and make him easy to kill. And in this room we'll find a few fairies and yet another portal to Subrosia. This is the last one we'll find. This portal brings us to a remote part in the upper left corner of the Subrosian map, and inside this angry volcano is level 8, the Sword and Shield Maze. Now, if you enter level 8 while playing a linked game, before you begin the dungeon, you'll see this cutscene starring Impa and Princess Zelda. The princess won't remain hidden in Impa's house anymore. She has to go into the village and talk to the people. No matter how frightening it is, you can't lose hope. This may be a little bit reckless, Zelda, but I guess she's doing what she feels like she has to do. What we have to do is take on this dungeon. Up here, we can use our slingshot and shoot a mystery seed at this statue. That will cause a key to fall down from the sky, and we can collect it and head back to the left. From here, we're going to work our way to the upper left corner of this floor, which is just straight up from the dungeon entrance. We'll pass through this room that we'll be coming back to later, and in here we need to clear out some enemies. These are the kind that respond to your magnetic gloves, although they're not required for defeating them. And you want to be careful of the ice in this room because that can be a little bit annoying. Once the enemies are cleared out, we can go up into the next room, but there's a few hearts here in the middle if you need them, so you may want to pick those up. This is the room we were looking for. We need to clear all of the enemies here to get a key, including this hardshell beetle. And you can see there's one of those iron balls at the top of the room. We could use that to get rid of this enemy, but it's so much easier to just use a gale seed with your slingshot. And with that, the key will drop from the sky. There are a whole lot of sparks in this room, and that's good news if you're low on health, because each one of these that you clear with the boomerang will turn into a fairy. So make sure you're at full health before you enter this room, where we'll use one of our keys to unlock this stairway. There are only 2 floors in this dungeon, an icy one that's shaped like a shield, and this lava-filled one that's shaped like a sword. If you keep that in mind, it'll make it a little bit easier to navigate. We need to work our way to this stairway, which will connect us to the left part of the hilt of the sword. So carefully jump through here, watch out for fire that pops out of the lava, and wait for this platform to be at the top before you jump over to the left. And in this room, we need to jump over some rollers and watch out for lava. This can be a little bit tricky, so just do small hops by tapping the button, don't hold it down. Because we have the rock's cape, sometimes smaller jumps can be awkward, so you want to get used to just tapping the button. There's an obvious stairway here that's sort of beckoning to us. And up in this room, you want to quickly hop over to the right side and open the chest, because that's where we'll find the compass. This room is very dangerous, so once you're done looking at the map, just get out of here as quickly as you can. Sliding around on the ice with all of these enemies and spikes, it can be a recipe for disaster. So we'll head back down here into the sword-shaped part of the map, and we'll use a key to unlock a rotating dial, our favorite. Go through the dial and then head up and to the left. we'll be able to drop back down and we can easily manipulate this dial. So we'll just go down now. There's a stairway in the lower left corner of this room, but it's blocked by that Armos statue. You don't have to do this, but I recommend clearing out the enemies in this room. That will make the next part easier. And maybe if we use a mystery seed on this owl statue, we can figure out what we need to do. A silent watch may be needed. So what we're going to do is just stand still, and if we wait long enough, that Armos statue will become animated and move out of the way. Now we can kill it with our magical boomerang. Yeah, get out of here, Armos. And with that, we'll head up the stairs. Down here at the bottom of floor 1, we'll find a chest that contains the dungeon map, and that's all well and good, but it's not the most important thing that we need to do here. You can see now that this floor is shaped like a shield and the lower one shaped like a sword. We kind of knew that. But what we really need to do is use your magnetic gloves. Make sure they're on N mode as you bring the ball over the lava, and you'll be able to push it onto that button. That will open a bridge that we'll need to use later. Don't go any farther into this dungeon until you've opened up that bridge. That is very important. And we're going to head over here to the right, where we'll equip our cape and quickly jump to this stairway. That brings us up to this part of the room, and if we head over here to the left, we can tap these Armos statues to animate them, and then we'll remove them with our boomerang, and then we'll be able to move that block at the bottom below the chest, and that will give us access to it. Even if you get hit by the red bubbles, you can still use your boomerang, so they're not a big problem here. And inside the chest, we'll find the Hyper Slingshot. The Hyper Slingshot is a mandatory item that we will need, and it's an upgrade for our basic slingshot. Now, whenever we fire it, we will shoot 3 seeds in a widespread array, but it only costs 1 seed ammo each time you shoot. We'll need this to solve some very specific slingshot puzzles. And now we find ourselves back here at the rotating dial, and we can ride it over here to the right where we'll find another small key. The compass keeps reminding us that that key was there, so it would have been hard to miss, but make sure to grab it before you go over here to the right, and we're going to use our magnetic gloves to get across this lava. So just glove your way over to this post and head to the right. If you need some supplies, there are a ton of clay pots down here at the bottom of the screen, and there's also one of those owl statues here that has a clue for how we can defeat the next mini-boss. So we'll hit it with a mystery seed, and it says icy cores make piercing blades. Interesting. Now here's one of those hyper slingshot puzzles where you have to hit 3 statues at the same time. That's usually what a hyper slingshot puzzle looks like. In this room, we'll be able to find some bombs down in those clay pots in the lower right corner. And we're trying to bomb our way to the upper left corner. There's some red bubbles here, which are not actually a big problem since we're mostly just using our bombs, but you do want to watch out for those dark nut enemies. Clear those out, and then we need to bomb these 2 blocks so we can push this one. And there's the key we were looking for. Once you have it, head back downstairs. So we can pick up a few more bombs before we leave, and then we'll head down this way. Now we'll use one of our small keys, and in the next room we'll face Fry Polar. Fry Polar has a blue and a red form. If you hit it with a mystery seed, it will change to the other form, so you want to change it to blue. Wait until it shoots an ice crystal at you, and then hit the ice crystal with your mystery seeds to turn it into a piece of ice you can pick up. Now you need to hit the boss again to turn it red, and then throw the piece of ice at the red boss. You'll need to score 3 hits to defeat it. From Fry Polar, we're going to take a quick detour back to the entrance, and there's a room here that we've been to before, but we want to go up on this ledge. Then we can use our hyper slingshot to hit these 3 statues at the same time with mystery seeds, and that will make a chest appear. This chest contains the Steadfast Ring. The Steadfast Ring is an exclusive ring that can only be found here, and when it's equipped, it will reduce the amount of knockback that you take from enemies. Once you have the ring, we can warp back to Fry Polar's room, and in here, we need to quickly light all of the lanterns before they burn out. So we're going to use the Hyper Slingshot with the Ember Seeds this time. Stand here, shoot, shoot, and shoot, and if you did it fast enough, the stairs will appear that bring you up to this room. There's a key in that room, but we won't be able to get it on the right side. Up here, we need to solve an ice puzzle. Start by pushing the lower ice to the right. Then push the middle ice down and to the right. And then we're going to push the one over here up against this purple block. Now we need to push the remaining ice block to the left and down. So we're going to push it over, and then we'll push it down. And when we push it over to the right, it's going to be up against the other ice block that we just pushed. See that? And then we'll push it up, and now we can push both of these to the right onto the yellow tiles to complete the puzzle. The icy floor here makes this a little bit tricky, but it's not that hard to figure out. And we'll go down these stairs where we will enter a side-scrolling area. Quickly hop across the icy blocks here and then do a big jump with a glide at the end at the top. We'll go across a few tank treads here. The one that you start on is high enough to get you up to the top platform, which you do need to be on to get across. Jump from thwomp to thwomp and then jump over to the ladder and climb on up. If you press the button in this room, it will open up a bridge that can connect us back to an earlier part of the dungeon, but we really don't need to go back there. Instead, you want to just quickly hop through this ice-filled room to get to the right side. And in here, we can clear out the enemies, although we don't have to. We just need to do a trick shot with our boomerang to hit that switch at the bottom. So stand here, and you're going to curve the boomerang using the directional pad on your controller, and that will hit the switch. And in here, there are two ways that we can exit this room. Down here in the lower right, this is not the correct way. This is a trap. If you come down here, you'll have to clear out that Mace Knight before you can get out, and there's not even anything very good in these clay pots. What we actually need to do in this room is clear all of the enemies. That includes the bats, which we know are called Keese in this universe. Don't worry about the button, and we're going to use our flute to remove these Pole's Voice. This will automatically defeat them. Once all the enemies are gone, the door in the lower left will open, and that's where we actually needed to go. And inside of this chest, we'll find the boss key. Alright, we'll definitely need that. With the boss key in our possession, we'll drop back into the room with the ice block puzzle and unlock the door on the left. Then we'll just pass through this room that contains a few spark enemies, and over here on the left side of the map, this almost feels like a completely new dungeon that is unrelated to what we did before. If we use a mystery seed on this owl statue, he tells us that the magical ice freezes all. Interesting. We'll see what he means by that in a moment. First, bomb your way into this room and watch the ghostly Armos. We need to copy his pattern exactly. Now, there are only a few possible patterns that you'll see here, and if the pattern is just extremely confusing, you can leave the room and re-enter, and when you come back in, you'll probably get a different pattern. This was one of the easier ones. If you do the pattern correctly, you'll get a small key, and back here, now we can kind of see what the owl was talking about with the magical ice. You want to pick up one of these and ride the minecart. We need to drop these ice crystals into the red outlined flame vents that lead down to the basement. This will freeze the lava down below. Flip the switch and then get back into the minecart while holding your ice crystal. We're going to carry it up here and we're going to toss it down into the first flame vent. And when you do, you'll see this quick cutscene. There are massive lakes of lava in the basement below us, and we'll need to cool it all off to reach the boss door, which you can see is in the upper left corner there. Once you get done there, you want to hop back into the minecart and ride it up here, where we're going to flip the switch so that we can ride it back to the room with the ice crystals. So just ride on through here, and when we get back to the ice crystal room, we're going to pick up one of the ice crystals, but instead of hopping back into the minecart, we're going to go down here instead. There's a very easy to access flame vent, so toss the ice crystal in, and that will cool off the lava down here in the lower right corner of this map. You've probably noticed that there's a treasure chest down here, so as soon as the lava is cooled off, we'll walk down these stairs, and we'll head over to grab it on the right side. You know from that tone that there's a small key inside, and once you have it, we're not done down here just yet. We also cooled off some lava up here, so in this area we want to head to the stairs. Once we get up onto this floor, we'll head over to the right. Earlier we walked through a room where we heard the key tone, but we weren't able to get the key. Now if we head down here, we'll be on the left side of that room, and we can easily grab the key from the chest. So walk down here, get that pot out of the way, and open it up for yet another small key. You should have 3 keys in your inventory right now. Once you have the key, we're going to head back the way that we came, and there are 2 more of those flame vents that we need to drop ice crystals into. So that is our next mission. We'll go down here, and we'll go through the stairs that brought us down here, and we'll head up to the room with the ice crystals, where we can grab one and hop into the minecart. So you'll need to use your power bracelet to pick up the ice, hop into the minecart, and ride it up into the next room. This will take us over here to the left, and in this room you'll see there's a flame vent that's blocked by a key block. Well, we have a key for that block, so unlock it and then toss the ice down in. This will freeze the lava in the upper left corner, and that is the path it will take to get to the boss door, but we still need to do one more lava lake. So unlock this door and head into this room where we'll need to go down the stairs. It's probably worth noting that while you're down here, if you're low on health, there is a fairy you can find in this clay pot. So you may want to walk up there and quickly collect it. But we're going to head back down, and then we're going to go over to the left. There's still active lava over there, so be careful. In this room you'll see a chest, and this chest just contains some bombs. So pick those up if you need them, and then go up the stairs. This is the room with the last lava vent, but to bring an ice crystal here, we need to move the minecart out of this room, so that's what we're doing right now. We'll ride the cart up here, and then we'll go through this door that we've already unlocked, and if we did it right, the minecart should be waiting for us up here, and we'll just ride it back down to the room with the ice crystals, and then we'll pick up a crystal and ride it back. Now, if the minecart is not in the right place, you may need to do a few other things to make this work, but as long as the other minecart is positioned above the room that contains the last lava vent, you should be able to do this no problem. So we're going to carry this crystal down here, and because we moved this minecart, we can ride it through, and that will bring us into the room where we wanted to go, and we can finally deposit the final ice crystal. If all of the lava has been cooled off, you have 1 key in your inventory, and you also have the boss key. Well, that means it's time to head to the boss. So we're just going to go down the stairs here. Just head right down, and we're going to go straight up. So this lava is all cooled off. Make sure to stay on the left side as you head up here, and then go over through the last key block. There's a few clay pots here to get some supplies, and then we'll unlock the door to face the Medusa head. The Medusa head always starts in the middle, so charge up a quick sword slash to hit it, and then you want to equip your slingshot with Pegasus seeds. Pegasus seeds can stun this boss. So what you want to do is stun the boss, hit it a few times, stun it again, hit it a few times, and you can see that the boss could turn you to stone if you're not careful. It also shoots lasers from its eyes, but if you just keep stunning and attacking, you shouldn't have too many problems with this one. And with that, we'll grab our heart container, and in this room, we'll find the 8th and final essence of nature, the changing seasons. Scattered seeds sprout in spring, grow in summer, bear fruit in fall, and sleep through winter. It is an endless cycle of life. The changing seasons. Outside the dungeon, we can celebrate with a telepathic message from the Maku tree. Now that we have all 8 essences, the Maku tree has been filled with his former power, and he has something for us. So we'll have to go and meet up with him in Horon Village. We need to get out of Subrosia here though, so we'll head down and pass through the portal. And once we get to the other side, we can walk by these fairies and use our Gale Seeds. As we look at the map, you'll notice there's only one place we haven't been to yet. 4 gray squares in the upper left corner. That's where Onox's castle is. But before we go there, we have a few things to take care of before the end of the game. Right away we've run into Maple again, and we still need the heart piece that she can randomly drop. She's now flying on a vacuum cleaner, which is funny because it's similar to a broom, just a more modern version. There was a ring this time, but still no heart piece, so we are going to need to do some maple farming. First though, let's get that gift that the Maku tree promised us. We'll head straight up here. And here is our tree friend, awake once again. Just like in Oracle of Ages, collecting all of the essences will get us a huge Maku seed, and with the huge Maku seed, we'll be able to break the barrier on Onox's castle. If you try to go to Onox's castle without the huge Maku seed, you'll be kicked back and you won't be able to move forward. At this point, we see this scene in Onox's castle. Now, is Link supposed to actually be able to see this because it seems like they're talking directly to us? Or is maybe General Onox just boasting out loud in his castle to try to hype himself up? Either way, it's kind of weird, right? Anyways, we have a lot of money now, so let's purchase that last Gasha seed over at the shop so that we can unlock the treasure chest minigame. As usual, this guy stops us and then notices we have a member card. Of course we do. And then we'll go down the stairs, where we can buy this last Gasha seed. Now, after I purchase this, we're going to go up the stairs and then come back in here. And if there's another Gasha seed for like 700 rupees this time, I'm going to be very upset. Alright, good. This is the treasure chest minigame. In this game, you give the man 10 rupees, and then there are 2 chests. You can open the right or the left one. You have a 50-50 chance of winning, but you need to win 3 times in a row before you can get a prize. I always just keep picking the same one because the odds are the same either way. And if you get lucky, you'll be able to win a ring. At this point, the owner asks us if we want to stop. At that point, we would get a Class 1 ring, but if we go again, we could win a Class 2 ring, and if we win another time, we'll be able to get a Class 3 ring. Now, the odds of getting a Class 3 ring are 1 in 32, which is not very good, but if you just save the game after each time you win, and then you just keep playing, and if you lose a bunch of money, you can reset and reload, you'll get your money back, so you can just keep trying if you want to get some Class 3 rings. So let's see if we can do it here. I love it how the store owner says, this time it will be harder. How is it going to be harder? It's the exact same game. What, did you put like snakes inside one of the chests this time? No, it's exactly the same. And here was our 4th win, so yeah, let it ride, my good man. And we're gonna try the same chest. Yep, we finally did it. Now after 5 wins, he will stop you and you automatically get the ring. You cannot go on from there. Now you can play this game as much as you want to try to win all kinds of rings, but sadly you can only get rings of classes 1, 2, or 3 from this gambling game, so you'll never be able to get the level 4 or level 5 rings. To get those, we're just going to have to harvest some gacha nuts. So let's head out into the world. Over here, there is a money man that we have just not collected for the entire game. And this is where it is. You can do this one much earlier in the game, but we will get it now because we could use some money. This guy will give you 100 rupees. Once again, this man says don't tell, and I think I might know what's going on here. Are these conflict rupees? Were they mined by children in the death pits of Rolling Ridge? I really hope not. Because now that we've accepted them, it's like we are complicit in the crime. This could be bad. I'm just going to hope that that's not what's happening here, and we'll move on with our lives. Like over here, if you place a bomb and go into the room where you would get the square jewel in a linked game, we'll be able to find a chest in the normal game that contains 100 rupees. So that's pretty awesome. From here, we've planted a bunch of gacha nuts, and whenever we start up a linked game, we'll be able to import the rings that we found in this game. So it seems like a good idea to try to find as many rings as we can before we go on to the end game. Before you start harvesting gacha seeds, it's a good idea to save your game. Sometimes you won't find a ring in the gacha seeds, and instead you'll find something like a fairy or 5 hearts. And considering that gacha seeds could cost like 300 or more rupees, we would like to get something a little bit better than that. If you look at the table on the left side of the screen, you can see how the different gacha spots work. Depending on where you plant the gacha seed will determine what class of item you can get out of it. So most of the gacha spots only yield items of class 1 or class 2, and there are several that can give you class 3, but there are only 4 spots in the game where you could get a class 4 or better item. This spot on Mount Cuckoo behind the mushrooms can yield items of class 2 through 4, and there are only 2 spots in the game where you can get a class 5 ring. Now there are only 2 class 5 rings that you can get, the green ring and the Rang ring 2. So once you have both of them, you don't really have to go to the class 5 spots anymore. But remember that the heart piece, if you don't already have it, the heart piece is considered a class 4 item. So make sure to use all 4 of those gacha spots until you get the heart piece. Now that we have a ton of rings, we'll take them to Vasu for appraisal. And there's the green ring. That's a class 5 one, so it's nice to have it. And we'll just move ahead in time a little bit. It takes a while to get all these rings appraised. But once you're done having your rings appraised, we can check our list and see if we want to add any of them to the ring box. The next thing that we're going to do is maple farming. So if you have the maples ring, you'll want to equip it now. You don't have to actually equip the maples ring, just as long as you have it in your ring box, that will be good enough. We can equip it whenever we want to use it. So you'll see what I mean here. We're going to go to the Woods of Winter, where there's a decent number of enemies for us to defeat. You need to clear at least 15 enemies, and we're going to go around this way. There's also a place where you can plant a gacha seed here, so if you have a bunch of gacha seeds lying around, you can plant one right here. And, well, there's one we haven't harvested yet. So we'll grab that, and there was a ring inside. Very good. But don't forget that you can just keep planting there because we're going to be doing a bunch of loops and we'll be able to collect some rings and other items at the same time. It's not a great gacha spot, but we're in the area. Down here there are 4 like lakes, which we can very quickly clear. And whenever you've cleared out all the enemies in the area, we're going to go to a place where Maple will spawn, and there's 2 of them. The spot where the gacha tree is, and this spot right here. So if we equip Maple's ring, and then walk back onto that spot, if we've defeated at least 15 enemies, she will spawn immediately. And we want to try to hit her over here so the items don't fall into the pits. It may actually be better in this loop to be spawning Maple on the screen where the gacha tree is. So consider doing that, but you just want to grab as many items as you can, and hopefully she'll drop the heart piece. Now, she doesn't drop it that often, so we'll have to come over here where we can enter level 2, and that's going to reset all of the enemies. An important part of any Maple farming loop is being able to reset all of the enemies, and then we can actually equip one of our other rings. The red ring is a good one, so we can quickly defeat the enemies. And then we're just going to come through here and keep doing this loop over and over again. We'll equip Maple's ring, and that will make her appear. And we want to carefully bump into her. You can also save after each time you bump into Maple. So, see what happens. We got, looks like 2 rings here. Maybe one of them fell into the pit, but that's not bad. You will probably get a decent number of rings doing this if you don't find the heart piece right away. But let's take a look at a loop. After I've been doing the loop for a while, I started to get better at it. So here's what a pretty good loop looks like. You want to clear 1 moblin there. Don't worry about the P-hats. Make sure to get rid of that guy. He is one of the 15. We're going to defeat 2 enemies here. We can plant a gacha seed, although it looks like we're out of seeds at this point, so I must have been farming Maple for quite some time. You'll need to get rid of the 2 Octoroks here, so get rid of them. Make sure you get the 4 likes. That's 4 enemies. And you know what? I don't think I re-equipped the red ring here. You should be able to defeat those likes a lot easier, but the rest of the enemies are not hard to clear, so you don't really have to be swapping rings if you don't want to. It could make things faster, but I also was destroying this sign as I was looping around because there's another ring you can get for destroying signs. And I realized at that point that I had not swapped rings, so we'll switch back to Maple's ring. And here's Maple. Oh, I really hope we get it this time. Carefully bump into her, and there it is. There's the heart piece. So make sure that Maple does not get the heart piece. Just go directly to it, grab it with whatever you can, and now we have the full 14 heart containers. Awesome. It's possible to get 16 heart containers in a linked game, but 14 is the most you'll have in a non-linked game. And now let's take a look at it in a linked game, because if you've been farming Maple for a while in a linked game, she won't ride a vacuum cleaner. Instead, she rides a UFO. Now, why does Maple ride a UFO? It's kind of been established that she can travel through time, so do people use UFOs to clean their floors in the future? Is that what's going on? Well, in any case, you can see now what 16 heart containers looks like. So yes, you can get very powerful in a linked game, but you would just use the same loop for Maple farming. This area near level 2. It's a very good one. Don't be surprised if you were farming Maple for a while and then return to Vasu's store if you get a special ring for slaying 1,000 monsters. Wow, 1,000 monsters. Did all of those monsters deserve to die? Or some of them just minding their own business? Am I the real monster here? Well, whenever you're done pondering that, there are a few more tedious rings that we should probably collect. These next few rings are completely optional to collect, and they don't have any functional purpose in the game. These are just trophies to mark different achievements that you've completed. So they used rings in this game to mark different achievements, and one of those achievements is destroying 100 signs. Yeah, this is going to be fun. We'll head over here to the lower right corner of Subrosia. We need to go to the area near the furnaces. So just make your way over there. It's pretty easy to get across Subrosia once you have the Rocks Cape. And we're going to come down here where we will see a sign that tells us the furnaces are over to the right. So this is where we need to go, and here's the house we were looking for. This Subrosian knows how many signs we've already destroyed. So whenever we talk to him, he tells us that we've broken 14 signs, which means we need to do 86 more. Now there's a sign that we just saw that led us towards the furnaces, and this is a very good one to break to get the achievement. Use your power bracelet to pick up the sign and then just drop it where you're standing to break it. I don't know if it counts if you throw it into the lava. It's definitely faster to just drop it right where you're standing and then just walk over to the left and back to the right, and there will be another sign for you to break. And just keep doing that over and over again until you think you've destroyed enough signs. And if you're not sure that you have the right number, you can always just walk over here to check. This is why it's a good place to destroy signs. You're right next to the guy that knows how many you've broken. Whenever you return to him, he gets super mad and resets the game. Well, I sure hope you've saved lately. Well, actually, it was just a joke, but kind of a mean one. If you didn't know about it, you might be very upset that he did that. For our troubles, we get a ring, and this is the sign ring. It's an exclusive ring that we can only get here in Oracle of Seasons. We'll use a Gale Seed to warp back to Horon Village, and then we'll go back to Vasu's shop and he can appraise our sign ring for us. It doesn't take that long to get the sign ring, but if you thought that was tedious, the next two rings are much, much worse. So here's the sign ring, 100 signs broken, that's what that ring is, and it will be added to the list. Because the sign ring is exclusive to Oracle of Seasons, if you're interested in getting the full ring collection, you probably don't want to put it off. The next thing we're going to do though is we're going to try to get a bunch of class 1 rings by cheating at this gambling game. Basically, you just want to keep playing the game until you can win a class 1 ring. Take that ring and save the game. If you lose 3 or 4 times in a row, reset to get your money back, and you just want to keep playing over and over and over again to try to just amass a ton of rings. Don't do double or nothing at all. Try to be fast at the game and just keep picking the same box. And as long as you don't waste too much money, once you have all of the level 1 rings, whenever Vasu appraises them, he'll give you 30 rupees back. And because it costs 10 rupees to play the game and 20 rupees to get a ring appraised, this is neutral, so you don't lose any money whenever you get a ring that you already had. If you do run out of money, you can just dig around town until you find some, but you want to probably save some of your money for ring appraisals so that you can get a decent amount back. So we're just going to keep cycling through over and over again because we need Vasu to appraise 100 rings. That's what we're trying to do here. We need 100 ring appraisals, and as soon as he does the 100th ring appraisal, he will immediately stop and tell you that it's happened, and he will award you the special ring. So we're still appraising rings, and we'll have to go back to the gambling game once we're done. Oh no, here it is! You're amazing! We've had 100 rings appraised. Vasu is so appreciative of our business that he gives us the 100th ring, and then he charges us money to get it appraised. What a great guy. Here we are winning all of these rings to sell to Vasu, and he can't even give us a free one for the 100th ring. I bet he takes these rings that he buys from us for 30 rupees and sells them to other people for hundreds. The 100th ring takes a couple of hours to get, but this next ring can take even longer. I did this one in a linked game so that I could use the gold joy ring, but if you have the red joy ring, that will also work. These rings will double the amount of rupees that you find. Because to get this next ring, we need to collect 10,000 rupees, and we need to do it all in the same game. I'm not sure if I mentioned that before with the Slayer's ring or the 100th ring. You need to do all of these in the same game. It does not transfer over to your linked game how many monsters you've slain or how much money you collected. And we're just going to start digging. So you want to dig in town so that we aren't in danger. Sometimes you find some enemies whenever you dig. Over here on that screen, you could dig, but you have to clear out the grass and the bushes first. So after a while, I realized that it was better to dig here, right near the jewelry shop. And you can just check in from time to time with Vasu to see if you got the achievement. You're looking for the big blue rupees. The other ones that you find will add up, but the big blue ones, if you have the red or gold joy ring equipped, those are worth 200 rupees, so that's going to make up the bulk of the cash. You don't have to spend the money, even if you collect money after you already have the maximum amount of 999, it still counts towards the 10,000 rupee achievement, but it's hard to track how much money you have if you can't see it anymore, so it feels good to spend the money. I spent a lot of the money here in the gambling game because the rupees you get from Vasu appraising your rings is included in the 10,000 rupee total. To be completely honest though, I'm not sure that wasting the money in the gambling hall was the best plan. I actually spent a lot of time there, and it may have been better to just go and buy Gasha seeds over at Syrup Shop. You can waste money very quickly that way. And that's what it looks like when you get the Rupee Ring. Vasu congratulates you, and there it is, 10,000 rupees collected. But what do we really have to show for it? I probably blew like over 5,000 rupees gambling? Yeah, that's not a good look. One other trophy ring that you can get, you'll only get after completing a linked game. You'll get a password called the Hero's Secret, and whenever you start a new game, visit Vasu's jewelry store, and after he gives you the ring box, you'll notice that you have 2 rings to get appraised instead of the usual 1. Of course, Vasu will only appraise one of these rings for free because you know how Vasu is. But there it is, the Victory Ring, a trophy for finishing a linked game. Speaking of linked games, we still haven't finished the Hero's Cave. In part 1 of this guide, we finished just enough of this bonus dungeon to get the sword upgrade, but now let's go back and finish the rest of it. This is the Hero's Cave. There's a portal behind this old man that will let us pick up right where we left off. So we're just going to jump across here. We have the Rock's Cape, so we don't need Pegasus seeds right now. And we'll go through this portal to this room, and that's where the Zora was that gave us the secret that allowed us to upgrade our weapon. But now we're not going to go near him, we're just going to touch this button, which will make a key drop from the sky. And then we'll climb up here to get it. Once we have the key, I don't think that you'll be surprised that we'll drop down and unlock this door. And I like to call this room the checkerboard. You need to press the buttons in the 4 corners of the room without getting grabbed by the wall masters. and the key is to just keep moving and just tap the button so that you don't glide. In this room, there's a puzzle that's similar to one from level 2, where you just want to push this roller, but don't be standing on the cracked spots on the floor. So push it all the way to the right and then let it roll back to the left so you can push the button. Whenever you open up this chest, we'll get a Gasha seed, and then we can swim over to the portal on the right. There will also be another portal that opens up that will take you back to the entrance. This is a tricky one. You need to go to this spot with the purple tile and push the block downwards. Do that before you light this lantern, because you can only move that block downwards, and once the chest is there, you won't be able to do it. So move the block first and you'll have no problem getting this key. Once you have it, swim down here, and we're going to start off down here at the bottom, so push that one to the right, this one up, and then we're going to go back up here where we can push these 2 blocks, then push this one down, this one to the left, and this one into the hole. Use your cape to jump across, and now use the key to unlock this block, and from this platform we'll be able to light the 2 lanterns. Do that to open the door. The door that opens is over on the left. We'll use our cape to get over the hole, and then we'll just hop over here, although we could swim. And this is the next room. We need to clear out the enemies here, but they're on top of the water, so if they get close, hit them with the sword. Otherwise, you can use your hyper slingshot, and I like to load it up with scent seeds. Those are pretty good. Just try to slingshot these enemies, and when they're all gone, a key is going to drop, and that key will go into the water, so you need to dive down to get it. From here, there's another bad guy, and there's the key, and we'll be able to use it to unlock this door. There are a ton of cracked blocks in this room, and you may be thinking, do I have enough bombs? Well, you don't really have to blow up most of them. Just work your way over here and push this block, and then blow up this cracked block to make the 2 lanterns open up. Now we'll hit them with some ember seeds, and that will make a chest appear that contains a Gasha seed. Don't worry about any of those other cracked blocks, and head through this portal. There are a lot of rotating posts here, but we're just trying to get to the lower right corner of the next screen over to the right. So jump up here, jump down here, and then we're going to jump out and use the magnetic gloves, and we just want to push across down here. That's all there is to it. There are 6 fast-moving crystal switches here, so you'll want to get these enemies out of the way. You don't want them bothering you while you're trying to hit those switches. One more, and we'll just bump that guy with our shield, and we'll head back down here. There's a snake, we'll take him out. And I like to start over on the right side. You want to hit the farthest switch first, and you can get quite a few of them on the backswing. We need to hit that 3rd one. If we can get it, the 2 switches in the front can be hit by your sword. So we'll get the farther one, and then we'll step back to hit this one. And when all the switches are red, the door will open. Over here, we'll need to clear out these enemies, and you'll see that there's a button in the upper right corner, and it looks like we just need to push a clay pot on top of it. But when we do, we're trapped by the treasure chest, so that's not going to work. What we actually need to do is use our magnetic gloves to pull an iron ball across this pit. So just pull it across, and then we're going to push it up and over to the button. Just push it over, and now we can open this chest that contains yet another Gasha seed. That makes a portal appear, and we just need to go to the upper left corner to move on. This is likely the most difficult puzzle in here. Do not destroy the other pot in the lower left. The ones that I'm destroying here are okay, and we want to start by pushing this one onto this button. You can push any pot onto any of the buttons really, but we need to cover all 4. And we're going to break these two, leaving the one in the middle. Push these two blocks and this one up. And now we can maneuver this one onto one of the two buttons. And the last one's going to come from that lower left corner. So we'll jump over and we're going to push it 2-3 spaces over. And then we're going to push this block and the other one on the other side of it. And then we'll push this one to the right. And then we just need to hop around and we can push it straight up all the way to the button. And when all 4 buttons are covered, we'll be able to head up into the next room, where we need to press 8 buttons, and each time we press one, a different set of enemies will appear. This is like a regular enemy gauntlet. It will always be the same, so whenever you press that button at the bottom, it's always going to be those Lionels. And when we press this button, it will always be the Stalfos enemies, so you'll know what you're going to get. The boomerang is very helpful here, so we'll keep that one equipped for now. But depending on what enemies we're facing, we may want to change it up. Against Dark Nuts, you might want to try your slingshot loaded with Pegasus seeds. And against these Pole's Voice, of course, we can use our flute. That will make them die instantly. So that clears those guys quickly. And here we'll use our magnetic gloves to stop the iron masks from being able to defend themselves. Pull off that mask and slash it with the Master Sword. And those 2 guys are also gone. And then we have these guys that also respond to the magnetic gloves. So you can try to push them out towards the sides of the room. That's probably the best way to deal with them. And just give them a good slash. Here we have some Gibdos. Gibdos are one of the easier buttons. And now there's going to only be 1 button left. And it's these guys that we need to flip over with our shield. If you don't have the shield, of course, you could use the shovel. The shield is a little bit easier to work with. And just flip them and slash them. Once all the buttons are depressed and all the enemies are cleared, a key will drop from the sky and we can head to the right. It looks like we need to do something insane with the boomerang here, but it's actually much easier than that. Take your boomerang, start in the upper right corner, throw it, and run down to the lower right corner. The boomerang will hit the switch on its return trip. That will make the key drop from the sky. There's also another way we can do it using the bomb chews. Bomb chews will go right through this wall, and bam, the crystal switch will be hit by the bomb chew. So that's 2 ways you can complete that puzzle. We'll need to pay this man 60 rupees to participate in the final trial, and if you mess it up, you'll have to pay him again. There are 8 chests in this room, but they must be opened in the proper order. So what's the trick here? Well, the layout of this room roughly corresponds to the game map, and so the chests are in the locations where the dungeons would be. We just need to open them in the proper order. So that's kind of near where level 1 was, and here's level 2. And level 3 we know would be over here on the left side. So we'll open this chest, and if you're getting a red rupee with 10 rupees in it, you're doing it correctly. Level 4 would be the one surrounded by water in the upper right corner. And level 5, of course, is nearby over on Eyeglass Lake. Level 6 was the Tarm Ruins in the upper left corner of the map. And in the lower left corner of the map was level 7, the Graveyard. So we'll open that one up. And of course, level 8 was in Subrosia, so I guess it's represented by this last chest. And if we do it correctly, a portal will open, taking us to our reward, the Power Ring level 3. This is the highest level power ring, so it adds a lot of damage to our attack, but it also means that we take more damage from enemies, and the red ring doesn't have any downside, so most of the time the power ring level 3 is not going to be better than the red ring, but still, this is an exclusive ring that you can only find here. Keep in mind that to get all of the rings in the game, There are 3 rings that you can only get in an Oracle of Ages linked game, and one of them is at the end of an even more difficult extra dungeon. See my Oracle of Ages guides if you want to know more about that. Before we head to the final battle, make sure that you have the red ring in your ring box, and you'll want to equip that. You may also want to bring the green holy ring if you have it, but the red ring is the most important. To get to Onox's castle, we're going to warp to North Horon, and we're going to go to the left here. And once you get across the bridge, you'll head up near the temple remains. So that's where we're headed. And once you get into the temple remains, we're going to go up and to the left. So we haven't been in this area yet. Head over to the left instead of to the right. And here is where you would get blocked if you did not have the huge Maku seed. But we do have the huge Maku seed, so we'll see this cutscene. Each of the 8 essences appears, and they spin around the huge Maku seed, releasing its power. Once the barrier is broken, we'll also get a quick message from the Twinrova. So we won't be able to go inside just yet. So far, the Twinrova haven't revealed what they look like, but they do now. We can see that they are red and blue Gerudo witches. They say something about the flame of destruction, but yeah, we're gonna shut that down before it can even start. We definitely don't want the evil king to return. After the Twinrova fly off, we get another telepathic message from our good friend the Maku tree. He tells us that this is awful, but what can we do about it? We just need to press forward and save Din. So we'll take out the enemies up here and work our way to the top. And here's the entrance to the castle. Kinda strange to only have an entrance at the top of the castle, but I guess that's just how Onox rolls. Getting through the castle is actually quite simple. Don't take the left or right doors, and in each room you need to clear all of the enemies before you go up. If you don't clear out every enemy and listen for that tone, the room will repeat. If you go to one of the rooms on the left or right side, you'll get stuck and you'll have to wait for a bunch of floor tiles to attack you, so you definitely don't want to do that either. In this room, we can use our slingshot with Pegasus seeds to stun the dark nuts, and up here we have to face Facade. I like to start out by tossing a bomb right on top of them, and then I move up to start the fight, and then just stay on the side and throw bombs on top of Facade. Hopefully enough of them will explode on his face. If he attacks you with some spider monsters, you can clear those with your sword, and they will often drop more bombs for you if you're running low. And once Facade's out of the way, we'll head up here where it's time to battle General Onox. The General comes out of nowhere with a massive spiked ball attack. As he lumbers in, we notice that he is extremely armored. So we won't be able to damage him by just hitting him with our normal sword attacks. You'll see they just clink against the armor. What we need to do is charge the sword up and hit him with full powered spin attacks. Whenever he has the mace spinning above his head, wait for him to flinch and then move out of the way, and then get in there and make sure to get some hits. After a moment, he'll bring the Din crystal into the battle. That is really mean. There's a few things we can do here. You could push the crystal out of the way using the Rod of Seasons. You won't get electrocuted if you hit it with the rod. Also, you could use the green holy ring. You'll still get electrocuted when using the green holy ring, but you won't take damage. And it seems like you can score multiple hits on the general when you're spinning if you get electrocuted at the same time. Once he's defeated, dropped into one of the pits, and it'll be time to face the final form, Dragon Onox. This guy looks a little bit like Shenron from Dragon Ball Z, although not nearly as long, and he definitely doesn't grant wishes. The first thing we need to do here is make sure we have the red ring equipped. You'll probably also want to equip your sword and cape. Whenever the dragon drops one of its claws, jump onto it and ride it up. Then charge up your sword, jump, and attack the crystal in the middle of the dragon's head with a fully charged sword strike. When he shoots blue fire, slowly move across the screen. You don't want to go too quickly and get caught in a corner. Sometimes he will slide across the screen and attack you with a claw. That can be hard to avoid if you're not already a little bit far away from it, so if you see it coming, get to the opposite side and stay there. Probably the most dangerous attack though is when he spits these glowing orbs. I start out in the middle whenever he's spitting the orbs directly under the dragon's mouth, but eventually he'll start spitting them downward and you'll need to move a little bit to the left or the right to avoid them. Just keep riding the hands up, charge up your attack, jump and hit the jewel in the middle of the dragon's head, and after just a few strikes you'll be able to take him out. And that's it. We've done it. We've beaten The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons on a non-linked game. All we can do now is sit back, relax, and enjoy the cheesy ending. Make sure you walk forward to touch Din's crystal, and that will release her. Now that she's free again, the season should finally return to normal. It's good to know that Din can actually fix the seasons, and that they're not permanently messed up, considering that the Temple of Seasons sunk underneath the crust of the earth. Din tells us that the trials we overcame to obtain the essences of nature have made us a true hero, but then she says, we oracles will always watch over you in secret? Like, always? At all times? Well, it looks like someone else who was watching over us in secret was the Twinrova. And as the story comes to a close, they will slide their ugly heads in as they observe the ending through an orange flame. It seems that their wish will be granted. So yeah, that's not great. But for now, let's roll the credits. As the first credits start to appear, we also see a few scenes sprinkled in between, and the first one of those features characters from Horon Village. We'll see the mayor, Mrs. Rule, and the guy whose cat was caught up in the tree. And then we'll see a few names and a nice sepia-toned scene to the left. In the next scene, Link and Din demonstrate their dance moves as the Prophet Sokra plays what appears to be a sitar and Maple flies around on her broom. This time we see the names of several programmers, and they're replaced partway through so that we can see even more of them. The next scene stars Impa, and also includes Din and Link. Impa whacks Link, and, well, I guess that's the whole scene. And once again, it just shows that Impa is very tall, especially compared to Link. Is that officially canon? Is Impa tall in other games too? In this scene, we see some Subrosians and other characters that seem to be closing in on Link, and then he uses some sort of magical power to make them go away? What were they trying to do to him? That scene is particularly strange. And from there we get to the rest of the credits, but we're not going to watch all of those credits just yet, because that's only the first ending. After those credits roll, we'll get a password that we can use in Oracle of Ages to start up a linked game over there. Make sure to save this game though so you can come back to do secrets. Let's go and take a look at the end of our linked game. Getting all of the rings is a lot of work, so if you don't mind cheating, there's a universal ring secret that you can use that will unlock all of the rings in a linked game. You can use this secret right away so that you practically start the game with all of the rings. So while this does feel like pretty serious cheating, it's something that you may want to try just so that you can experience what the other rings can do. This secret not only works in a linked game in Oracle of Seasons, but it would also work on an Oracle of Ages linked game. It's just that good. And here is what the complete ring collection looks like. For the end game, we definitely want to bring the blue and the red rings, so bring both of those. And then you may want the bomber's ring, that one could come in handy, as well as the green holy ring for facing General Onox. Remember that General Onox is not the final boss this time, and we will have to face the Twinrova after defeating him. You'll notice that whenever we get the huge Maku seed from the Maku tree here in a linked game, that some of the game text is a little bit different. He mentions that first we must defeat Onox, and then we'll have to fight the Twinrova, so it's nice to be reminded of what we're going to have to do. And after we see this scene where General Onox is maybe talking to us telepathically, I'm still not sure about that. I think the jury's still out on that one. But after this part, we'll see a scene that stars Princess Zelda. So we'll cut back to the Maku tree, and there is Zelda and Impa. This definitely did not happen in the non-linked game. Zelda tells us that the final trial is about to begin, and says, "May the protection of the Triforce be with you." Well, may the protection of the Triforce be with you as well. After a quick word of encouragement from Impa, we'll head out to General Onox's castle. And once again, we'll break the barrier using the huge Maku seed. And once again, this scene is a little bit different in a linked game. Just like before, we'll see the 8 essences, and they spin around and use their mystical powers to break the barrier. But this next part is definitely not the same. This is where the Twinrova showed up before and just showed us what they looked like previously. But this time we see a scene in the village where the Twinrova appear and kidnap Princess Zelda. Wow, we just were with Princess Zelda 5 seconds ago. If we would have just stayed a little bit longer near the Maku tree, maybe we could have prevented this from happening. Or maybe the Twinrova were just waiting somewhere for us to leave? That makes sense. Well, they kidnap Zelda, and then they say that they're going to sacrifice her. So yeah, that's bad news. And they have her on some sort of strange altar. You'll notice that 2 of the 3 flames have been lit. So as long as that third one doesn't get lit, we should be okay. We're going to need to hurry up. It doesn't look like there's much time to spare. And so we'll head to the top of Onox's castle. We're very strong with the Master Sword and the Red Ring equipped. And you can also see, before we go in, what the completed map looks like. So we'll look at it just one last time. Getting through the castle is so much easier in a linked game because we are significantly more powerful. We have 16 heart containers, the Master Sword, the Red Ring, 99 of each seed ammo, and you can see that the Gale Seeds work really well against the Wiz Robes in this room, so just hit them with the Master Sword or the Gale Seeds, and then head up here. You don't want to get grabbed by any of those Wall Masters, so if any of them get close to you, let them have it with some Gale Seeds, and try to get rid of the Dark Nuts with your sword. In the next room, we're going to be facing Facade, and we have the Bomber's Ring, which allows us to have 2 bombs on screen, so let's try that out against this guy. With the power of the Bomber's Ring, we can defeat Facade very quickly. You can just throw a stream of bombs at that guy. And we also have a ton of bombs in our inventory as well, so it should not take much to get to the general himself. Even in a linked game, we still need to use fully charged spin slashes to penetrate General Onox's armor, but it takes so many fewer hits. Make sure you have your red ring and master sword equipped, and this time he mentions Zelda, and he also says that we will be destroyed. So yeah, I don't think so, General, because it only takes 3 fully charged spin slashes to make him progress to the second form. And then don't even worry about the damage you'll take from the crystal. If you spin slash right into the crystal while it's next to the general, you'll score multiple hits and you could beat him in a single slash. Against the dragon form, we're going to try to use a more aggressive technique. Once we get up onto the hand, we're going to eat a Pegasus seed, and then we'll equip the sword and the Rock's Cape. What we want to do is jump from hand to hand while attacking the dragon. So here's what it looks like. Ride up on the hand, use the Pegasus seed, switch over to the sword, and then you're going to jump across, wait a second, jump across again, jump across again, jump across again. And just like that, the dragon is defeated. It's tricky to do, but once you understand the rhythm, it's not really that difficult. You could use this technique in a non-linked game, but it takes more hits to defeat the dragon without the Master Sword, so I think using fully charged spin slashes is just easier. But if you want to try that technique, go for it. Once Din has been released from her crystal, it seems like the game is over. The seasons all return to normal, and everything seems to have gone back to the way it was before. But don't forget about Zelda. We still need to rescue her from the clutches of the Twinrova before the third flame is ignited, because if we don't, they'll be able to call forth Ganon. And we definitely don't want him to come back. Din explains that the Twinrova's mission was simply to cause chaos so that they could sow despair, sorrow, and destruction amongst the people. That's how they get their power. And oh no! The third flame has been lit! We're running out of time! Onox and Varen had already created enough sorrow and destruction to light the first 2 flames, but once the Twinrova kidnapped Zelda, that created enough despair to light the third one. And now, with all 3 flames lit, they begin their dark magic ritual to reanimate Ganon, the Gerudo King. Din gives us a few more encouraging words, and then suddenly your body is filled with a mystical power. This will completely refill our health, and as everything fades to white, we see Nehru, the Oracle of Ages. Nehru reminds us of the stakes by telling us that the hour of the evil king's return is near, and then Din appears. Din seems very confident that we will succeed, simply because we must. And with that, we are teleported to the Twinrova's lair. May the divine protection of the Triforce be with you, young hero of the essences of nature and time. So now that we're here, I'm thinking that if it was that easy to teleport into this place, that maybe we should have come sooner and we could have freed Zelda before that last flame was lit. Well, in any case, in these rooms, you need to look at which direction the eyes are facing. They will be looking in 3 directions, so you just need to go in the one direction that they are not looking at. So none of the eyes were looking up there, none of them are looking left here, so we'll go to the left. This time, None of the eyes are looking to the left again. And here, it looks like none of the eyes are looking up. And when you've done it enough times, you'll emerge at the altar where we'll find Zelda. But as soon as we approach her, everything becomes hazy as we're teleported to a large open room where we'll finally do battle with the Twinrova. This is it. It's time for the final boss fights. It seems that the only thing the Twinrova need to do to revive Ganon is to sacrifice Zelda, but we're not going to give them a chance. In this battle, we're not going to be dealing any sword damage, so you'll want to start out by equipping your blue ring. You still want to keep the sword on though, because we need to deflect the boss's projectiles at the other boss. So you'll notice the red boss throws a fire projectile and the blue boss throws an ice projectile. You need to make the blue ice projectile hit the red fire boss, or have the fire projectile hit the blue boss. The safest way to do that is to just get into the corner of the room and start slashing wildly with your sword. This should protect you from the boss's attacks, and eventually a few of them will just land randomly. Now you can try to aim your shots a little bit, but it only takes a few hits and it doesn't matter which boss you hit with which projectile, because once they've taken enough damage, they will combine into this abomination. Now you definitely want to equip your red ring, so switch over from the blue ring to the red ring unless you're very low on health. That will make this take fewer hits. And we also want to equip our slingshot with mystery seeds. You need to hit the boss with the actual blade of your sword, don't use the beams. So try to get close enough, hit the boss with the blade, and whenever it's stunned, hit it 2 times if possible with the slingshot and your mystery seeds. In the fiery lava room, be careful of knockback whenever you hit the boss. So whenever you strike the boss, you will be pushed back a little bit. But if you just attack very quickly with the mystery seeds whenever it's stunned, it won't take much to defeat the Twinrova. I think it's a little bit easier here on Oracle of Seasons because the Hyper Slingshot is a bit faster than the Seed Shooter. Well, you knew there was no way we were going to get to the end of this game without fighting Ganon at some point, right? The Twinrova are unable to sacrifice Zelda, so instead they just sacrifice themselves to bring forth the evil king. And there he is. It's Ganon. Against Ganon, you still want your red ring equipped. If you don't have the Master Sword, you will definitely want to charge up your attacks, but you may want to charge up your attacks anyways. If you hit Ganon with one of your spin slashes, try to hit him a few more times with some regular slashes as well. Whenever the floor turns blue, your controls will be reversed, so be ready for that. But just keep attacking the evil king, and it won't take much to defeat him. Once you head up the stairs, you can try to go down at the bottom, but there's no escape. We just need to go and talk to Princess Zelda. And that's it. We've done it. We've beaten The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons on a linked game. All we can do now is sit back, relax, and enjoy the cheesy ending. Zelda explains that because the Twinrova sacrificed themselves instead of sacrificing Zelda, they were only to resurrect a raging, mindless Ganon instead of the evil mastermind that we know and hate. So that's why he was so aggressive, but also why we were able to defeat him so easily. As the castle crumbles around us and it seems that all is lost, we once again get a telepathic message from the Maku tree. He is so proud, and then he is able to teleport us out of the Twinrova's lair. Awesome! Now, I'm kind of wondering if maybe the Maku tree couldn't have teleported Zelda out of there sooner? Maybe that would have saved us a lot of trouble, but I don't know, possibly the Twinrova had some kind of magic that was blocking him. Although we were able to teleport into there. Well, Din knew that we would find a way, and hopes that we'll dance together again. Impa is happy that Zelda has returned safely, and says that she always believed in us. Zelda reminds us that the symbol of the Triforce on our hand marks us as the hero who is fated to appear when peace crumbles in Hyrule. With the 8 essences of nature and time, we fought back the powers of evil. The guidance of Triforce made us into a legendary hero. And then she gives us a kiss. Nice. I don't mind so much that Zelda gave us a kiss in front of this Maku tree, but still, don't tell the other one. And with that, the scene fades out, and it's time to roll the credits. These credit scenes are not the same as the one at the end of a linked game in Oracle of Ages, although there is some overlap. First, we see that Din has been reunited with her traveling troupe of musicians, although I thought the whole thing was actually fake so that they could sneak her into Hyrule. I don't know, she seems to like performing with them. I like how there's one red Goron that's hiding up in the upper right corner. And here we see Nehru with Ralph. Wow, it's been a while since we saw Ralph, way back in Oracle of Ages, but it's nice to see that they're still feeding these poor children. And then we'll see another sepia-toned scene featuring Nehru and Ralph, and we'll get to see some of the programmers. The next scene that we see features our animal companions, and I'm pretty sure this one is exactly the same as it was in Oracle of Ages. So a little bit of repetition here. There's Dimitri. And finally, we'll see Ricky after Dimitri swims away. And if you've seen this ending before, you know that Ricky punches Link in the head and then pulls him into his pouch. Yep, same thing happens here. I definitely hope Link doesn't have a concussion. I think that kangaroo could do some serious damage with its punches. And then we see Zelda at her castle as she looks out over the terrace at this moonlit night. A shooting star streaks by. This was also in the ending in Oracle of Ages. Here we see the name of the musicians that brought us the sounds of the game. And then that's it. It's the final credits. And that's going to wrap up my coverage of The Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Ages and Seasons. This journey took me many months, and I wanted to thank you for coming along with me. Now that I've played both games and I've played them in both different orders, which one do I recommend playing first? While I think that Oracle of Seasons is the slightly better game, if you're committed to doing a linked game, I think I like it better when you start with Oracle of Ages and finish with Oracle of Seasons. If you start with Seasons, whenever you bring the red ring over to Oracle of Ages, the combat becomes almost trivial and it's maybe less fun. Also, I like the way that the story wraps up a little bit better when you get to see Queen Ambi become reunited with the Sea Captain in Oracle of Seasons. That's something that you just don't get if you play it in the other order. One major caveat to that, though, is that the bonus dungeon is dramatically different depending on which linked game experience you chose. The bonus dungeon in the linked version of Oracle of Ages is extremely difficult, while the one in Oracle of Seasons is not actually that tough. So if you're looking for an intense challenge, you probably should start with Oracle of Seasons. Or I guess if you can't get enough of Zelda, just try to do it both ways. As the final credit fades away, we see the Triforce up in the sky, and it morphs into 3 flying birds. The game pans down, and we see Link bidding farewell to all of the friends that he made along the way. And that's it. That's the end. After seeing this scene of a ship on the open sea, you'll be able to get the Hero's Secret, which you can use if you want to start up another game, perhaps on Oracle of Ages, and continue your quest there. Well, I hope this video was able to help you finally beat Oracle of Seasons, restoring order to the chaotic nature of Holodrum. If it did, make sure to give it a like, and make sure to subscribe for more videos, because there will always be more epic adventures for us to embark on, and that's why we'll be back again next week with another video game you can beat. Thanks for watching.